So I put the song, and since he was acting like a little suspicious, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go through his messages. And I don't know what he was doing, but he was distracted. So I went through his messages, and like nothing seemed suspicious until I saw some messages with I forgot what the letter was, but it was just a letter.
What is up, everyone? I'm your host, Alannized, and this is Noche de Pendejadas, your favorite podcast turned talk show en donde yo traigo a tus influencers favoritos para platicar y posiblemente sacarle sus trapitos al sol. Hoy les tenemos un episodio preparado, amigas, que yo sé que a ustedes les va a encantar, pero obviamente antes de que empecemos con el chisme, a mí me gusta calentar with the musical performance. Hoy estoy súper emocionada, amigas, de tenerles el grupo que les tenemos aquí el día de hoy. They actually made a trip all the way desde Chicago, amigas, y por poquito no la hacían, but I'm glad they did. Please help me welcome, presentándose por primera vez aquí en Noche de Pendejadas, estrenando canción nueva, los de la HOMAN.
A la güerita de pelo negro, out now, para que la escuchen, márquele, chapitómonos. Por la pantalla se ve tan hermosa, pero en persona su labio rojo, su piel güerita, muy seriecita, su pelo oscuro y sus ojos negros, toda una diosa. Y su persona es más bonita todavía. Wendy Ortiz, regálame tu tiempo, tal vez te hagan sonreír y te acuerdes de mí mañana. Wendy Ortiz, sé que es muy atrevido, sálvame de esta oscuridad, de esta enfermedad. Ven y rescátame de esta soledad. Bueno, más los de la HOMAN. Wendy Ortiz, regálame tu tiempo, tal vez te hagan sonreír y te acuerdes de mí mañana. Wendy Ortiz, sé que es muy atrevido, sálvame de esta oscuridad, de esta enfermedad. Ven y rescátame de esta soledad. Ay, que suena, viejillo. Güerita de pelo negro. Bajo la cámara de Alannized, out now, mi gente. Fierro.
¡Wow, amigas! ¡Qué presentación el día de hoy! Si ustedes quieren ir a apoyar su música, ahí les voy a dejar todos sus links down below para que vayan y los escuchen. But with that being said, amigas, ya vamos a empezar con la entrevista y el chisme que les tenemos preparados el día de hoy. Please help me welcome my guest tonight, Wendy Ortiz. ¿Cómo estás, amiga?
I'm super nervous.
I'm super excited de tenerla aquí el día de hoy, amigas. Para todos ustedes que son fans de Noche de Pendejadas, obviamente ustedes saben que Wendy no es su primera vez estando aquí con nosotros. This is actually your second time, and I'm so excited because hoy se va a tratar de ti. Hoy quiero conocer un poquito más a Wendy Ortiz, no Wendy la gemela. Entonces estoy súper emocionado de tenerte aquí el día de hoy. You've been in LA for how many days already?
I think it's been like 2 days.
¿Para qué viniste, amiga? Cuéntanos un poquito because I've been seeing you everywhere the past couple of days.
Yeah, so this time I came for obviously the podcast. I came for his Eslabon concert, and then I just came to film YouTube videos as well.
Yo le voy a dar el micrófono a Wendy para que nos diga un poquito más de quién es y qué hace.
Hi guys, my name is Wendy Ortiz. I'm a TikToker, YouTuber, and I'm also a mother, but most people do know me off TikTok.
La tuvimos a ella y su hermana hace como 6-7 meses aquí en el show, but I feel like your life has changed and has really picked up like crazy in the past 6 months. Entonces decidí el día de hoy, amigas, para traerla aquí con nosotros, para poder conocer un poquito más de Wendy la persona y no Wendy la gemela. Antes de que empecemos, quiero platicar un poquito de lo que pasó el día de hoy. Hoy, cuando te estaba esperando aquí, I was literally sitting in this exact chair going through my TikTok, and miré que andabas all over TikTok. Hiciste un en vivo where people were like, girl, you gotta lay off the coffee. What type of coffee are you on? Porque you literally went crazy. Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso.
Well, today I was just live getting ready for the podcast, and I feel like I just had so many things like in my mind because there's like a lot of drama, a lot of like scandals going on around my name, and I feel like I've never addressed it. Like I try hard to not say anything, to not like give them the reaction that they want, but today I just went off. I just felt like I needed to say what I said.
You're like, today I had enough coffee. Y pues dijo lo que tenía que decir, amigas. Aunque yo sé that a lot of people clipped that shit and fucking took it out of proportion. But you know what? Aquí está el día de hoy. Vamos a platicar de muchos chismes. Vamos a platicar mucho de tu historia, de tu vida. And I'm super excited. Cuando me mandaste un mensaje that you wanted to be back on the podcast, en verdad que sí me emocionó because I was like, you know what? I know I just recently had her 6 months ago, but I really do truly think your life has changed dramatically over the last 6 months. Porque te tuvimos aquí cuando literal estabas empezando like to blow up.
It was my first time in LA, and I feel like now I've been here so many times, and now I feel like I know a little bit more of like what I'm doing and what's going on. So, yeah.
Do you know exactly cuántas veces has estado en Los Ángeles desde esa vez?
Honestly, I can't even count. I think maybe I come here like twice a month.
No, you do come often,
and then sometimes like I do stay for a week, so it's a lot.
Pero ¿saben por qué, amigas? Porque pues aquí están todas las oportunidades, aquí hay mucho trabajo, entonces por eso se viene. Pero yo voy a empezar ya con el chisme del día de hoy. Me voy acomodándome. Anda, yo ya estoy listo. Para empezar, quiero empezar con la pregunta que I always start off with. ¿Cómo era Wendy growing up? Cuéntanos un poquito más de tu infancia.
Well, growing up, I mean, I don't really remember much. Like, I can't really tell you guys like how I was, because I really don't remember. Like, everything is just like blacked out. But I mean, growing up, I was like kind of to myself, like with my family, with at school, like with my friends. Like, I was mostly to myself. I think it's because I'm shy, and also I am very like, how do I say, like standoffish. Like I know like not to trust a lot of people, and that's why sometimes I come off as mean or just like some sort of way. But it's because that's how I am.
You like to keep your distance from people.
Sure,
I feel like especially after getting fucked over so many times, you're like, ¿sabes qué? No le voy a dar mi todo a la gente porque la gente no siempre tiene buenas intenciones. Les estábamos diciendo el día de hoy que hoy te quiero conocer un poquito más, y yo sé que ustedes van a decir, we don't want to hear about the twin questions, but at the end of the day, that is that's who you are. You know what I mean? You are a twin. Tu hermana Evelyn es tu hermana menor. You're the older twin. Tell us a little bit about that. How was it like growing up being a twin? Did you enjoy it? O a veces como que te fastidiaba and you're like, you know what, I hate this little life.
Growing up as a twin, I feel like sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I feel like during high school or like during school, I enjoyed it because I always had somebody. Like first day of school, like events at school, like I always had somebody. I could like rely on her, and she's my sister, so like she's always gonna be there for me, and vice versa. So I feel like I do really enjoy it. But then other times, like in high school, we got compared a lot, whether it's like our friends or our family. We did get compared a lot, so that kind of takes a toll on us because like we are our own person, and we get compared, and we get like people think like we're the same person. We are more different than we are alike. I mean, obviously we look alike, we sound the same. Sometimes we like have the same mannerisms, but I feel like she's a little bit more like outgoing and bubbly, and I'm a little bit more like quiet.
Reserved,
I feel like she's the outgoing twin, and I'm the reserved twin.
I do see that a lot because Evelyn, like, she's like up in the mix. You're more like
in the
you're like
I'm quiet.
Literally.
I'm just shy, and I don't know the reasoning for being shy, but I feel like she just took more of that that side.
Like the leader role? Do you feel like she was more of like the leader in the twin?
In high school as well, she was the one with the friends. Like I would want her to invite me, And like most of our friends came from her because she like was more outgoing, and I only had a couple friends just because I'm like more to myself.
Did your mom used to dress you guys like igualitas, or like did you guys kind of have your own style?
No, yeah, when we were younger, like I think we stopped dressing like around like 6 or 7 because there was a time where we were like we want to dress ourselves. We want to be our own person. So she did when we were younger, but after a while, like we did want to be our own person. Yeah.
Quiero platicar un poquito, I want to reference back the other podcasts. En ese podcast, obviamente era su primer podcast, this being your second.
Yeah.
Quiero platicar un poquito, en ese podcast platicamos mucho about you guys being twins. Y siento como que mucha gente, te criticó mucho because you said you guys weren't close.
Yeah.
Quiero platicar un poquito más de eso. Were you guys close? Or if you guys weren't, platícanos de eso.
I feel like when we shared rooms, we were way closer because obviously, like, we were kind of forced to be close. Like, we were just together. We would talk to each other and stuff. But when we got our own rooms and, like, we kind of started, like, drifting apart, like I said, we're our own people.
Yeah.
So, like, I started liking different things. She started liking different things. She started going out. Like, I stayed in. And we kind of just drifted apart. But we were close at some point, yeah.
And I feel like eso suele pasar mucho because, I did see, the backlash that you got at the time. They're like, oh my God, why does she express herself that way about her sister? Como que they're not close, but they're doing all this social media together. I feel like como que la gente toma las cosas muy literal. Like they take things too literal.
Yeah.
Because I understood where you were coming from. Yo también, yo quiero muchísimo a mis hermanos y a mi hermana. But I feel like even growing up, or even now, I feel like I'm not like close así con mis hermanos. Obviamente cuando los miro con gusto, pero así que yo me siente con mis hermanos y contarles mi chisme and everything that I'm going through, como que no. I feel like that happens a lot in Hispanic households where like you kind of like are taught to not even like confiarle cosas a tus hermanos porque luego van a ir de mitoteros con tus papás. Was that like a reason why you weren't close?
Yeah, I think it's just how we were raised. Like, with my older sister, I'm not close to her either. But I feel like it's more like I did trust her at some point, and then something happened, and I'm like, okay. And then how I said, like, I'm very standoffish.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is how we were raised. Me and my twin sister, like, my mom isn't very affectionate with us. And so I feel like me and my sister weren't very affectionate towards each other. I feel like that has a lot to do with it. And I see other twins, other people, and I'm like, why can't we be like them? Like, why can't we be close? But I feel like just how we were raised and, like, what has happened to us, like, I feel like it's just...
¿Peleaban mucho de chiquitas?
Honestly, me and my twin sister, not really. I feel like I can't really, like, remember, like, a big fight we had. We do fight, obviously, but it's never like, oh my God, I'm so mad at you. Like, I'm not going to talk to you for a week. Like, we always just, like, brush things off. Like, she uses my clothes. Like, we brushed it off. She does this. I do that. Like, whatever. We just brush it off. But with my older sister, I feel like we just...
clashed a lot?
We clashed a lot. There was this one time, I don't know if she told the story because she was previously on the podcast, but we were getting ready for school, and then I don't know why I got mad at her. She got mad at me, but all I remember was she threw a hairbrush at me. Yeah, and then
you're like, it's on,
no,
bitch.
No, I think I pulled her hair, and then she threw the brush at me, and then from there I was like crying to my mom. I was like, me pegó, and then my mom was like obviously taking my side because like I'm a little younger, so yeah.
So te gana tu hermana Johanna con 2 años, ¿verdad? So she's a little older. Do you feel like, obviamente tienes también un hermano mayor. Is he older or younger than you guys?
He's older, yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel like was your relationship with your siblings like all around? Do you feel like there was a sibling you got along with more even though you weren't as close to them? Like was there a sibling where you're like, you know what? Like growing up, that was someone that I can count on. Growing up, that was someone that I would always be kicking it with. What sibling was that for you?
Well, I think that person was Eve for a while. Like during high school, we shared the same room. Like I would tell her, I would trust her. I would tell her things. With my brother, he's a little bit older. He's like around like 6 years older. So it's a little
big
harder.
Gap.
Yeah, it's a little harder to like be able to relate to him. And then my older sister, she's super close. So I also feel like that like the close age gap is also like just as hard as the further age gap.
Yeah, a los 7 años se separan tus papás. Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso. ¿Te acuerdas cuándo te dijeron tus papás, like, mira, mija, ya no vamos a estar juntos, tu papá ya no va a vivir con nosotros?
I don't really remember much because I was younger. Like, I can't remember them fighting. Like, I really don't know what went on, but I do, like, have a core memory of them when they broke up. I just remember being outside of his little trailer, and my mom was, like, arguing with him, and it was just all 4 of her kids, like, my brothers and my sisters. Like, we were just there at the door. And
like, watching it as it was going down?
Yeah, we were just there, and then they were arguing. And I remember my mom, we went inside to pack our things. All I remember is my my dad sitting on the couch and watching a soccer game, and like he really didn't.
Like he didn't give a fuck.
He didn't try. Yeah,
He's
he didn't try to do
"Váyanse."
anything. So that's like a core memory I have.
Do you feel like as soon as your dad and your mom separated, do you feel like your dad was like still in your life?
Well, like I had mentioned, I was a little bit younger, so I really don't remember like much of it. I don't remember if my dad tried to be in our life. I don't remember if like he was like consistent in trying. But most of my memories are with my mom. I would probably see my dad like once every 6 months or maybe even once a year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was like super
like little.
Like little, yeah. And I think as we got older, I think he did try a little bit harder to be in our lives because I remember when I got older, I would like go more often, but like all of that is just like a blank to me. I don't know why.
Do you feel like him not being in your life affected you in any way?
Definitely. I mentioned in the last podcast, like I feel like I have daddy issues, and I mean I do feel like I do because I always wanted that
like a
dad
male
figure.
attention,
Yeah, and I would see like I always see TikToks about dads and stuff, and it makes me sad like the fact that me and my siblings didn't have that. So I do think it affected not just me, but like all my siblings, like my brother. Like I noticed it in him as well. Like the way he is with his daughters, like everything he does, it reminds me of my dad. And I feel like that's his daddy issues, you know? With guys, it's a little bit harder because you need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also with girls, like with me and my sisters, like even with them, I notice it. Like I see little things, and with myself that I mentioned in the last podcast, but like with men, the men I try to find and stuff, like I kind of look for that, for what I was missing in my childhood. That's the thing, like I don't know what love from a like dad figure looks like. So I try to look for in a man, and in a man, like I don't know what to look for. I definitely like feel like it affected me now as an adult, like trying to look for like a man. I don't know what to look for in a man since I didn't have that. I didn't see my mom and my dad, how they were together. I didn't see any of that.
¿Cómo es tu relación con tu papá nowadays? Do you feel like you have a relationship with him, or do you feel like it's still kind of rocky?
Yeah. Well, now I haven't talked to him, I think, since I gave birth to Valentina.
Oh,
I don't think
shit.
I've seen him since then. And the reason for that is because when I was pregnant, I went to go see him. Like, I was the one telling him, like, hey, like, I want to go see you. Me and my baby daddy, we would go see him pretty often, like, every other week. And I kind of just realized, like, it's me trying to see him. And I told myself, like, I'm not going to try to see him. I'm gonna try to see if he reaches out to me. Because I did see a TikTok that says that the phone works both ways.
Yep.
So I shouldn't be the one trying to contact him. Like, he should also try to contact me. And since then, like, I haven't seen him. I haven't reached out. I had also invited him to my daughter's birthday party, and I texted him the day of. I was like, hey, like, my tia's here. Like, are you still coming? And then he didn't end up showing up. So I feel like that just really, like, showed me, like, fuck, like, he just doesn't want to be in my life.
Did he at least like reply back, or was it kind of just like no te contestó?
No, yeah, he didn't answer me. I was like, hey, like my tia's here, like are you coming? And he just didn't reply. And ever since that, I think I asked him how he was like after that, but since then I haven't seen him. And
¿Cómo te hizo sentir eso en ese momento?
Well, it just makes me upset because of my daughter, you know.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Because I would like my daughter to have like that grandpa. Like, obviously I have my stepdad, but you know, I want my dad to be a grandpa to my daughter. And just the fact that like he didn't even show up to her birthday party. Sorry, I didn't want to cry.
No, you're good.
Like,
Llora,
we're, like,
amiga.
2 minutes in.
Desahógate.
No, we're like 2 minutes in. Oh my god. But yeah, I feel like that just made me realize, like, fuck, bro, like, maybe he does, because I did, like, try to give him the benefit of the doubt, like, even after, like, everything I've heard him do to my mom or say about my mom, like, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, it's my dad's first time living, like, he probably doesn't know how to be a dad. He didn't have a dad growing up, so, like, I just try to, like,
you were trying to be understanding,
I try to give him the chance, but just him not showing up to my daughter's, birthday party, and even after, he still doesn't try to see her. Like, he doesn't text me how she is. He doesn't text me how I am. Then it just upsets me because I tried so hard. Like, when I was pregnant, I did try so hard. I went to go see him. I texted him. I did so much for him, and just the fact that he's not doing the same for me, it really, like, it hurts.
As an adult, obviamente nos cuentas que it's been a year since you've talked to him or kind of had a relationship with him. Do you feel like you've ever let him know how you feel, or has it kind of been like, nunca le has dicho cómo te sientes tú?
No, well, I never told him. The only time I ever, like, kind of gave him the hint was when my brother told me that he was gonna move to Mexico.
Your dad or your brother?
That my brother told me that my dad was gonna move to Mexico, and my dad didn't tell me. So I remember I was still pregnant and I went to go see him, and I started crying to him. I was like, oh, like are you gonna move to Mexico? And just the fact that like he doesn't even tell me, and like I try so hard to be in his life and he doesn't try to be in mine. So it just upsets me, and also just because I tried so hard for him.
Does he have a relationship with any of your siblings, or is it kind
No.
of just with you?
I think it's like I'm the one who like reaches out to him, because I remember one time he had told me like I'm the only one that tries with him, but I don't think I think he's taken that for granted, because like my brother, like he's older, so he realizes like how my dad fucked up. He realizes what he's done to my mom, and he realizes how he treats him. My older sister, like she knows everything because she's a little bit older, so she knows everything that my dad has done to my mom. And me, like I said, I don't really remember much growing up. I didn't see them fight. I didn't see them argue. Like I don't know what my dad has done to my mom. So I feel like that I just kind of feel bad for him, because I'm like, maybe he's just misunderstood, but now I've realized like he just that's not what he wants.
Nos cuentas un poquito de que obviamente tú no te recuerdas mucho of your childhood. Do you think a lot of that has to be because of trauma block?
Yeah, I've always heard that, and like I've never realized it until like I try to remember things. I try to remember like being with my dad or being with my mom or being with my siblings, and I just like I don't remember anything.
I think that happens a lot, y te lo cuento porque obviamente, you know, my boyfriend también no tiene una relación, even up to this day. I think he hasn't had a relationship with his dad, I want to say for like 4, 5, 6 years, maybe even had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Pero él es el más grande, ¿verdad? So él pudo vivir y vio todo lo que su papá le hizo a su mamá. I think cuando se separaron, ella tenía como 11 años, pero mi cuñada, she's like smaller, right? And till this day, like, even though she doesn't have like the best, you know, relationship with her dad, ella, si le dices, oh, ¿te acuerdas cuando mi papá nos hizo esto? Ella, she's like, no me acuerdo, no me acuerdo. And my boyfriend sometimes gets mad because he's like, girl, ¿cómo de que no te acuerdas si tú estabas ahí conmigo? But pasa mucho que pues the trauma block kind of doesn't make you like remember, because you don't want to remember like all the bad things you lived. You don't want to relive those things. Y pasa mucho, you know, obviamente te quiero decir aquí sentada conmigo que casi llorabas. I want to tell you you're enough. You know, you're enough. You know, y si tu papá no está en tu vida, pues lo que se pierde él. Hablando de que él no está en tu vida, do you feel like in the future you would love to like rekindle your relationship with him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how I said, like, I don't want to be the one reaching out to him. I would feel way better if like he was trying to see my daughter, he was trying to see me, he was trying to see my siblings. Like, it's just the way that I'm the one putting in the energy.
Did he remarry? Did he have kids again?
No, he did remarry, but they did get a divorce now. And I remember when I had mentioned, I visited him when I was pregnant. I never really like realized how he treated my mom, but I had seen him talk a certain way to his wife, his then wife, and like like I started crying to my baby daddy. I was like, fuck, bro, like that's how he treated my mom.
Yeah.
And like he's treating his like wife now. Like it just made me realize like maybe he is not the greatest man that I'm like thinking he is.
Nos comentas de que obviamente tu papá no estuvo en tu vida growing up, and because of that, tu mamá se convirtió in a single mom. Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso. What was it like growing up with a single mom?
Growing up with a single mom, I feel like then I didn't realize how hard she tried and how hard she worked. I mean, that's how I lived life. That was normal to me.
Yeah.
So seeing her go to work, seeing her just take care of all of us, like that was normal to me. But now that I'm a mom and now that I'm a little bit older, I have started to realize that she works so hard. Taking care of 4 kids is a lot and by yourself. And we were all, me and my older sister are 2 years apart. So she had 2 babies, and then my older sister, which was 2 years apart. So I know like she struggled a lot, and I feel like back then I didn't hold a resentment towards her, but I was kind of just like, I didn't realize that it was my dad's fault that they had broken up. So I was kind of just like, oh, it was my mom's fault. Oh, like she didn't try hard enough to be with my dad. But now growing up, like I see how my dad is. I see how hard my mom tried. And like even the stories I hear now, I'm like, fuck, bro, like that is not my mom's fault at all. She tried her hardest for like the 4 kids that she had. She tried her hardest for herself. And now like I realized like it's not her fault at all. Like she tried with my dad, and my dad didn't want that for us. So it's not her fault at all. It's my dad's. And like now how I had mentioned, like I never realized my dad was like that until like I was around him. And I just realized now that it is my dad. It's my dad's fault.
I feel like a lot of the time the kids, when their parents get a divorce, se quedan con la mamá, and for whatever reason, el hijo, la hija tend to blame the mom, like, oh shit, like my dad left us, like you couldn't keep this family together. Obviamente nos cuentas que that was like the mindset you had for a while. Do you feel like because of that you gave your mom like a hard time, or because of that you felt like you weren't as close to your mom growing up?
I feel like growing up, like thinking like, oh, it was my mom's fault. My mom could have tried harder. My mom could have stayed with my dad. Like I was kind of closed off with her. And even now, like I feel like I'm still kind of closed off. But growing up, like me having my own baby and me going through the same thing with my baby daddy, like it's making me realize like it's not her fault at all. Like I can't imagine Valentina growing up and thinking that it's my fault that we broke up. So I feel like that did have a lot to do with the way I am towards her and how like standoffish I am with her.
Es algo súper normal. You know, obviously you grew up as a kid and like you said, you saw everything so normal sin saber todos los problemas that were really going on, you know, behind the scenes. I'm sure your mom, you know, almost made it seem like she wasn't going through shit.
Yeah.
Like life was perfect. Like, oh, you know, niños, ¿cómo están? Without you knowing that she was going through hell and back, like con ella misma, you know, she was going through a lot of shit. You know, she came from a failed, you know, relationship. She was trying to keep, you know, all her kids afloat, keep herself afloat. Y yo pienso que ya ahora tú como madre puedes decir, ¿sabes qué? Like, life isn't as easy as I thought as a kid. And en el momento, aunque tú la pudieses juzgar mucho, yo pienso que ahora puedes comprender que tu mamá literally was doing what she thought was the best thing for her kids and for herself.
For sure, yeah. And I also feel like growing up, at school I would see kids with their moms like during school events and stuff, and I felt some type of way. Like now I realize why, because she had to work. She didn't have my dad helping her out or providing her with money or the luxury of her staying home with us or attending those events. But like when I did grow up, I was like she couldn't make it to like our volleyball games, whether it's like birthday parties at school, whatever it was, like she couldn't make those. But now I understand why. Like she worked so hard for us. She couldn't just show up because she had to work. My dad wasn't there for her. So like now I feel bad because back then like I was putting the blame on her because I'm like, she didn't show up to my volleyball game, like she didn't show up to my graduation, like she didn't show up here and there. And I feel like that, like now I'm a mother, so now I realize like it's not easy to just go to these places or do these things for your kids because she was alone.
It's a lot of sacrifices. Yo pienso, obviamente, yo no soy padre, and I don't think I'll ever be a parent, but I think, you know, being a parent comes with a lot of sacrifices. Porque imagínate, si se hubiera quedado contigo todo el día con tus hermanos, fueran homeless, amiga, imagínate. I feel like that tends to happen too. You know, obviously my parents, when we were kids, they were together, but I feel like my mom was forced to work a lot too, just because, you know, para pagar la renta. I feel like in California, I feel like anywhere. I feel like nowadays, like, ya no nomás se necesita one paycheck, se necesitan dos to really keep a family afloat and going. Y yo me acuerdo, I remember this exact, you know, time. Y me acuerdo que ahora ya de adulto me arrepiento mucho. And I've talked to my mom and I kind of let her know, like, hey, you know, me acuerdo que te dije esto de niño y espero que pues no lo tomases a mal. And I hope that you don't feel like you failed me as a mother. I remember when I came out of the closet, I came out of the closet because I was caught stealing at Target. You know, I was stealing makeup. Y yo pienso que en ese momento, because I was like under fire of doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, which was stealing. Si ustedes andan robando, amigas, no lo hagan, porque pobrecita Martita luego cuando me cacharon, terminó pagando, pienso que $500 in a fee. And I remember I used, you know, everything that was going on to like come out to my mom, right? Like I told her, I was like, oh, it's because you're not there for me, blah, 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 whatever. Y me acuerdo que en ese tiempo, you know, I feel like it's very typical of parents to be like, oh, yo te doy todo, te doy techo, te doy amor, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. And it's true, they do give us everything, the necessities that we need. Pero yo me acuerdo que en ese tiempo le comenté and I was like, you know what? you give us everything, but you don't have enough time for us. Siempre andas trabajando y cuando no estás trabajando, estás durmiendo porque andas bien cansada. Y yo me acuerdo que en ese tiempo le reclamé mucho esto. Like, I kind of put the blame of, you know, me doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing because, oh, my mom wasn't around to, like, tell me what was right and wrong. Y ahora ya de adulto yo digo, ¿sabes qué? Mi mamá, gracias a Dios, se sacrificaba ella el tiempo con nosotros para ir a trabajar and to really make sure that we were good. Because I feel like, especially with parents, it's a little hard to provide everything, you know, emotional, physical, and financial support to a child because it's really hard to do all of it.
And that's what I've realized, like, there is no perfect parent.
Exactly.
Like, we think of our parents and we're like, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, but at the end of the day, like, they're trying their hardest. They don't know how, like, it's their first time being a parent. So they really don't. We, like, hold a lot of resentment towards them.
Do you feel like now as an adult, have you ever had a combo with your mom and been like, Mom, I'm sorry. I know life for you probably wasn't as easy as you made it seem. ¿Has tenido como una plática con tu mamá con eso?
No, not yet. I feel like, how I said, like, I'm a little bit more, like... Reserved, yeah. So, I don't know. I haven't really had the time to tell her that, but... I really hope one day, like, I build up the courage to tell her, like, I'm sorry for holding that resentment towards you. I'm sorry for being this way towards you. And now that I'm a mom, like, I hope she realizes that.
Like, you see her, see her sacrificios.
I see, like, she sacrificed a lot. I couldn't imagine, like, having to work, like, a 9 to 5 and having Valentina. Like, I can't imagine that. And I do have the luxury of staying home with Valentina. So, I just hope my mom, like, knows that.
Y tú obviamente lo entiendes con un hijo, ahora imagínate ella con 4, like that's crazy. I feel like, I've always said this, you know, las mamás solteras en verdad que se merecen el mundo because they really have to, you know, it's already very hard to leave a relationship where you're unhappy, where you aren't treated correctly, where you aren't valued, but it's even harder being like, you know what, esta relación a chingar a su madre, but then you're like, fuck, how am I going to do it con mis 4 hijos? So it is a very, you know, hard thing to do, and I feel like a lot of single moms don't get the praise they deserve because people see, you know, only so little, but it's like uno nunca sabe todos los sacrificios y todo lo que uno tiene que pasar para sacar a sus hijos adelante. You know, quiero platicar un poquito de high school. ¿Cómo eras tú en la high school? Were you the shy girl? Were you popular? Were you peleonera? Nos estabas contando en el otro podcast que si eras bien peleonera. Cuéntanos un poquito más de tu high school experience.
In high school, how I had mentioned, it was like Eve was always there with me, so it was mostly just me and Eve. We were kind of just more reserved. People knew of us, but none of them like really like try to be our friends. And like during lunch in high school, like we would just go home. We would go to school just to like learn and then go home. Like during high school, like I feel like most kids, like they ditch, they do this during lunch, they go to parties, they're with their friends. But I feel like me and Eve were kind of just like, okay, we're just there to graduate and we're gonna go home.
Academic wise, do you feel like you were really like smart, on point, or were you kind of like mencita vibes?
I think I was a little mencita.
Really?
Yeah, no,
¿Por
yeah.
qué?
Well, I feel like I like tried obviously, but during high school like my thing was just graduating. So I was like, as long as I get this grade, like I'm going to pass and I'm going to graduate. Like I wasn't really like, oh, I'm going to learn. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. It was just more like, I just need to graduate.
Nos estaban contando in the other podcast que pues eran bien peleoneras y nos contaron una historia of that one time where that girl thought you guys were talking shit on someone's mom y todo eso. Did you have any other fights other than that one?
Yeah, I think during high school I probably had like 3 fights. Yeah, and
Cuéntanos una de esas, a ver.
This was my very first fight. I think I was in like 6th grade. Me and my friends were just hanging out. Like it was me, Eve, and like 2 other girls. And this girl came up to us and she just started talking shit about my friends. Like it wasn't even towards me. I was just like, okay. But then she started like talking shit. And I told, like, I was scared because it was my first fight. Like it was 6th grade. I was super scared, but I told her something. And then she ended up slapping me. I don't really remember much, but then we ended up fighting and Eva ended up jumping in. So that was our very first fight. That time I was just like it was a dumb reason. It was just because like they were talking shit to my friends, but I think I just wanted to be like hey,
bold, like
yeah,
I'll protect my friends, like mama bear vibes.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to like start something, like keep it going. So yeah, that was my first fight.
Did you guys get in trouble? Like did the teachers like find out, or was it kind of just like an after school thing?
Yeah, we did get in trouble. It was during lunch, so we got in trouble. We ended up getting in school suspension, and after that, like that girl like like she just hated us. Like her and her friends, yeah, because of that.
What was your mom's reaction cuando llegan a la casa, 6th grade,
Yeah.
and you're like, Mom, we got in a fight?
Yeah.
¿Cómo
I feel
reaccionó tu mamá?
every time that we would fight or like my mom would get that call, I feel like she was just more happy that we didn't let ourselves, because my older sister, like, she would let herself, like,
Yeah.
she would get bullied, and they would call my mom to her, like, oh, hey, like, they're doing this to your daughter, they're doing that.
To Joanna.
To my older
Oh,
sister,
shit,
yeah.
okay.
They're like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. So I feel like with us, like, she just felt more like, okay, they're defending themselves. Like, obviously, she would get mad at us.
Yeah.
Like, she would take away our phones. But she was just kind of more happy that we just, like, we weren't letting ourselves, like, get bullied or we wouldn't let people, like, touch us or do anything to us.
Yo quiero saber un poquito de lo positivo, amiga, para que ya no estés llorando.
Yeah.
What do you feel like, if you can go back to a day in your life, in your childhood, what would that day be and why?
In my childhood,
You're like, I forgot.
no, yeah, literally nothing.
O que eran cosas que te encantaban, que eran cosas that you would be like, oh my God, I loved when my mom would take us out to eat. It can be something as simple as in like, oh, cuando nos llevaban al parque.
Yeah.
Que era algo que tú dices ahora ya when you look back at like your life, you're like, oh my God, I really loved doing that as a kid.
Well, how I had mentioned, my mom worked a lot, so she really like couldn't take us out to wherever it was. But I do remember growing up with my grandparents. My mom they would babysit us. So my mom, she would go to work and she would leave us with our grandparents. So like just being around them, and they were like older, so as a kid, like you kind of just want to like be around them,
Yeah.
and they were very nurturing. So I think just being with my grandparents really, like that's when I was happy.
¿Todavía viven los dos?
No, they both passed away. Yeah.
Like recently or like during your childhood?
My grandpa, he passed away a long time ago. Like I think I was probably like 7 years old. And my grandma, she recently passed away.
¿Cómo te afectó eso? Obviamente, I'm sure that when your grandpa passed away, you were too little to remember.
Yeah.
Do you remember when your grandma passed away?
When my grandma passed away, I honestly, like, I thought about my mom. Like, I couldn't imagine losing a parent. Like, I just felt sympathy for my mom, because, like, I know she was sad about it. And even just, like, remembering all the things that me and my grandma would talk about, I remember she would always say, because she couldn't walk, so she would always say, like, oh, just let me be. Like, I'm better off just, like, not bothering you guys. Like, I just don't want to be here. And, like, just remembering that, it made me upset, because, like, she lived her life wanting to leave. So it just, like, that's what upset me the most. That
Like she would constantly be negative about living.
Yeah, because, like, she would need help going to the restroom.
¿Qué tenía?
She got a stroke, so she was paralyzed, yeah, so she couldn't walk, yeah.
So obviamente les dan la noticia que tu abuelita fallece. How did you guys find out? ¿Quién les dio la noticia? Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso.
I think I was pregnant during the time, but I think my mom was the one who told me, yeah.
Was it hard, like, for your mom to take it?
Yeah, I think it, like, for me, we would only be with my grandparents when we were younger. Like, as we got older, like, my brother would take care of us, so I was only like with them or close to them for so little. So I feel like when she passed away, like, I wasn't really that close to her, but my mom, she's the one, like, obviously her mom passed away, so she it was a lot for her. And even my tias, like, when I went to the funeral, I would see my tias crying, and I'm like, fuck, bro, like, she had 12 kids,
Yeah.
so all of them were
yeah.
there, and, like, I was just like, I don't know, just that hurt seeing all my family.
Yo quiero platicar ya para terminar el tema de tu juventud y tu niñez. If you can go back in time, you know, knowing everything you know now, what's something, advice or anything that you would like to tell little Wendy?
I think I would just tell younger Wendy to, like I had said, like, I held a lot of resentment towards my mom, and I feel like if she just understood or talked to my mom, had that conversation with her, or even with my siblings, because they were there with her, they, like, witnessed everything, a little bit older, so I feel like just having that conversation with them. And I would also, like, tell myself that, like, at the end of the day, whether it's, like, my mom struggling, my mom not being there, my dad not being there, everything turned out fine. You know, I am who I am because of that helped me, like, be who I am.
Y obviamente te está yendo muy bien. Yo quiero platicar un poquito más, like something more of your life now. You know, obviamente ahorita te conocemos, tú eres Wendy, tienes a tu hija, y no muchos saben todo lo que ha pasado when it comes, you know, to your baby daddy and to your relationship. Y quiero platicar un poquito más de eso. Pero antes de que lleguemos al chisme, yo quiero conocer un poquito más de su historia. How did you guys meet? ¿Cómo se conocieron? Who made the first move? Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso.
With my baby daddy, I made the first move. I would see him on my Instagram and my Facebook, and I ended up just messaging him on Instagram. From there, we both had gone out of relationship, so we were both each other's rebound. So we kind of just, like, went straight into it. we met for the first time, and after that we would hang out like every single day.
How old were you guys at the time?
I was around like 17, and I think he was probably 19, 18. Yeah, he's 2 years older than me, so we just like went straight into it. We started hanging out every day, and obviously like we kind of just got used to each other. We got attached to each other. We fell in love. Obviously in the beginning, like a lot of relationships, like everything was good. We were starting to get to know each other. We like fell in love, and I feel like there was things here and there, but we never really, like, it wasn't that big until obviously we were like 1 year in, and then 2 years in, and after that, like, it was kind of just starting to get rocky.
A couple months after graduating from high school, a los 18 años, sales embarazada de Valentina. Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso. What was your reaction when you first found out? How did you find out? Cuéntanos todo eso.
My baby daddy's in the military. Sometimes he would come to Colorado, but it would be for 2 days. So we had gone like 5 months without seeing each other. I graduated high school without him being here. And when he came back, like, we just missed each other so much. Obviously, like, we got into it. And I think we wouldn't use protection, but I was so in love. Like, I was just like, oh, if it happens, it happens.
You're like, be my baby daddy.
No, yeah,
y
obviously,
pasó.
like, I didn't really think of it. I was just like, I'm in love with him. I missed him so much. Obviously, it wasn't planned. Like, we were super young. I was 18, and I think he was, like, 20 years old. So it wasn't planned, but it did happen. We weren't smart about it. And when it happened, I remember that's when we started kind of, like, drifting apart. He would do shit, and I would tell him, like, hey, like, I'm done.
Do you feel like him leaving out of state to, like, be in the military, do you feel like that kind of was a reason why your guys' relationship started getting a little rocky?
Yeah, I think when he came back, we kind of just expected to like, continue where we left off. And that did a lot of damage because we were just like, oh, we didn't really think of the time we did spend apart. We would FaceTime here and there, but it wasn't the same as having him there with me. So I feel like we just expected everything to be good and, like, nothing was going to happen. We're still going to be in love even if we spent that much time apart.
¿Cómo le dijiste a la noticia? Like, how did you tell him, like, hey, you know what? No estamos con don y ahora estamos embarazadas.
So a month or two after he had come back from the military, obviously, like, we missed each other so much, and we weren't really being smart about it, so we didn't use protection. And I would always tell him, like, hey, like, I'm going to get pregnant. But he would be like, no, you're not. And I kind of started believing, like, I'm not going to get pregnant. So after, like, a month or two, like, I know my body, and I started, like, feeling weird. Like, I got sick in the morning. I had so many headaches. Like, I just felt different. So I told him, I was like, hey, like, I think I'm pregnant. Can you get a pregnancy test? So he came home from work. And my body felt weird, but I didn't really believe that I was going to be pregnant. I didn't expect it. So we went to the bathroom. I peed on the stick, and we waited 2 minutes. And then when we saw that we were pregnant, I feel like we both just didn't, like, it didn't hit us. Like, we didn't realize.
No captaban. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, we were like, that's not real. Like, it didn't hit us. And we were kind of just like he was laughing, and then I was like, bro, like, it's like, I was kind of laughing about it. I was like, hey, like, I'm pregnant. And at that time, like, I had my suspicions of him cheating. Like, during that time, I had a dream that he cheated on me, and that I went outside, and his mom followed me outside. So that, like, I just had a gut feeling of him cheating. So we obviously, like, we talked about it a bit, and we decided to call Planned Parenthood that day. During that time, he was being kind of mean to me, which is why I had that suspicion. And
he was acting different.
Yeah, he was acting way different. He was just being mean. Like, after work, he would usually go see me. But during that time, like, he was kind of being distant. Yeah. And, like, obviously, I was confused because I was expecting to be as in love as we were, like, prior to him leaving for the military. And I remember we decided to call Planned Parenthood. And during that time, I was super, like, I couldn't even order a McDonald's meal. So I asked him, I was like, hey, can you call them and tell them, like, can we make an appointment and stuff? And he wouldn't do it. And I was telling him, like, please, like, I just don't want to talk to them.
Like, te da mucha vergüenza, like, having to make the call.
And I was even asking him, like, hey, can you just call? And he was just being mean about it. He was just like, no, you need to call. Like, you need to tell them. And I remember I did call, and, like, I started crying because I was like, why is he being, like, I'm pregnant. He's acting this way towards me. So, like, I remember I was on the phone with Planned Parenthood. Like, I was trying to make an appointment. And, like, I started, like, tearing up on the phone. Like, I just remember that so vividly. And I remember also that day that, like, when we found out, he was just being super mean. Like, I remember he was like, oh, do you want food? I was like, yeah. And then we kind of argued because I got mad at him for not calling Planned Parenthood. And we kind of argued, but he was walking out the door, and I told him, like, hey, Carlos, like, I'm sorry. But he ignored me. And like that, like obviously like it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but like I knew how he was towards me. Like I know how he is when he's in love, and like when he's very like loving. So
it was like a big change for you.
Yeah, like he's usually like he's a very loving guy, but like him doing that to me, like me finding like that day we found out we were pregnant, him being mean, like I just felt so weird about everything.
Cuando obviamente, you guys start talking about this abortion que platicamos muchísimo en el otro podcast, do you feel like in any way he was making you feel guilty for trying to take, that decision over your body? Like, do you feel like maybe that's why he was being mean? Because deep down he was like, I don't want to like abort.
No, I think it was the complete opposite. I think maybe he just felt guilty about it, which is why he was like being like a little bit mean during that time. He like agreed, like we were talking about it and we both agreed like, hey, like we should just get the abortion, we're arguing, this is happening. And so like I definitely don't think that that's why he did that. I think it was more like he felt guilty and he was just like kind of taking it out on me.
Obviamente nos cuentas un poquito que en ese entonces, you had found out you were pregnant, and during that time you started having a lot of suspicions, right? You started thinking and believing that he was cheating on you. Did you ever, find anything? If so, cuéntanos un poquito más de eso. Y si sí lo encontraste en un tiempo, cheating, ¿cómo te enteraste tú?
So I was already pregnant and we both knew I had those suspicions, so it was just like a very confusing thing. We did plan to have the abortion, like we had an appointment, but we were still like together, so we would hang out here and there. And since I had those suspicions, like every little thing like I would pay attention to. And I remember when I found out, we went to go drop off his brother at like some taekwondo thing, and we were waiting for him, and I was like, oh, like do you remember this song? It goes like this, and my phone wasn't working, so I was like, oh, let me see your phone. And he was kind of like
como que no te quería dar el teléfono.
He didn't want to give it to me. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to put the song. Like, let me just show you this song that I'm talking about. And I ended up, like, putting the song. But then...
would he normally give you his phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he would always, like, previously, like, he had done a few things. Like, he would have, like, those exclusive Snapchat girls.
Okay.
But with that, like, I kind of, like, I told myself, like, that's how guys are.
You're like, it's porn.
Yeah, that's what I was like, it's okay. Like, I would tell him it bothered me. But, like, I was kind of just telling myself, like, oh, like, guys are like that. Guys like seeing girls. Like, I wasn't really, like, it was a big deal, but at that time, I didn't realize it.
Like, those Snapchat girls, it was more of, like, they wouldn't talk to him. It was just more he would see them. So it was kind of like porn to you in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize at the time, like, oh, like, that is kind of fucked up. So I put the song, and since he was acting, like, a little suspicious, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to go through his messages. And I don't know what he was doing, but he was distracted. So I went through his messages, and, like, nothing seemed suspicious until I saw some messages with I forgot what the letter was, but it was just a letter. So I was weirded out. I clicked on it, and he took the phone away, and I told him, like, who was that? He was like, oh, it's a guy from work. And obviously, like, he's not going to take away the phone if it was a friend. Yeah. So I started yelling at him. I was like, let me see the phone. And I ended up taking it away, and I read the messages, and it was, like, messages you don't send to a friend. So his brother ended up coming in the car, and I was still, like, I wanted to control myself because his brother was there, but I was like, no, like, that's fucked up. He knows I'm pregnant. And he's still, like, the message was from that day. Yeah. So I was like, he knows I'm pregnant, and he's still texting somebody. He's acting weird. So I was, like, going at him. I was like, hey, like, if you don't show me the phone, like, I'm going to go home. Like, we're going to go to your house. I'm going to pick up my car, and I'm going to go home. And he was still not showing me the messages.
What was his excuse at the time?
Like, he was just saying, oh, it's a friend. So obviously, like, I knew it wasn't. Yeah. And I was arguing him all the way to his house. I was telling him, like, you need to show me your phone. Like,
y el hermano atrás como
no, yeah, I felt bad. I wanted to stop myself because he was there, but I was like, bro, like, fuck that. Like, he's doing this shit to me. I'm pregnant. His brother doesn't know I'm pregnant, but we both know we're pregnant. Yeah. So that's why I was going off on him. I was like, show me the messages. We got to his house, and he still didn't show me the messages. I kind of thought, like, when we got to his house, he was kind of going to ask me, like, or talk to me or try to, like, beg me in a way. But that was not the case at all. We got to his house. And, I forgot to mention that when I was going through the messages, when I was going through his phone, I copied the phone number and I sent it to myself. So when we got home, I went and he just left. Like, he literally,
yo soy lista.
No, he literally, like, we got to the house. He didn't tell me anything. We got to the house. I went into my car. I went inside, I got my stuff. His mom was asking me, hey, like, what's wrong? And I didn't even want to talk to him. Like, I just got my stuff. I went to my car, and I saw the phone number. I called them. I called them, like, like a lot of times, and they didn't answer.
Al work friend, yeah.
Yeah, the work friend. And then I was like, oh, like you could copy and paste on Google and it usually shows up. So I copy and pasted it, and like a little like a hooker page came up. Yeah, and I was like, bro, like that's so fucked up. And I was still at his house, and his mom obviously knew something was up. So she came out, and I was telling her, I was like, hey, like he's doing this shit to me. And they didn't know I was pregnant at the time, so it probably didn't seem as bad, but
it just looked like boyfriend and girlfriend drama.
So it didn't seem that bad, but me and him knew what it was. And she was just saying like, oh, he's probably just going through it. He drove off, like by that time he already drove off, like he wasn't even there. So his mom was just saying like, oh, he's probably just like thinking about what he's gonna tell you. Like she was kind of like, defending him.
Mija,
yeah,
no te alborotes.
But I was just no, like there's no way like I'm gonna like let this happen. And I was waiting there like hoping he would come back for me. Yeah, I was just
you're like,
there.
Para que te dé una explicación,
yeah,
at least,
I was just waiting there. Like I stayed there for like maybe 10 minutes, and like I think his mom probably told me to go home, so that's why I ended up going home. And even when I got home, like I was calling him, and I didn't know who to tell that I was pregnant. Wait, I don't want to cry. I didn't know who to tell that I was pregnant, because like I had mentioned, like I'm not close to like my sisters or my mom. So I was like, fuck. Like I didn't have friends at that time, so I was like, who am I gonna tell I'm pregnant? Like who am I gonna tell about all this? And I ended up telling his brother, because his brother was there when everything was happening. And I feel bad because he was like 15 years old. Like
you're all trauma jumping there. He's all chamaquilla.
I'm telling him about everything, but I ended up texting his brother. I was like, hey, like I'm pregnant, and he's doing this, and I don't know, like we plan to get an abortion, but I don't know how to feel about it. And his brother, like he told me like, hey, I think you should just do it. Like he was 15 years old telling me to do it, and I was just thinking about it. I was like, bro, because I loved him so much.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to end, and I think that has a lot to do with the reason I didn't go through the abortion, because I just wanted things to work out with him. I wanted everything to
had hope.
I had hope. I had a lot of hope. And I know he's like a caring, loving man. So I kind of just like wanted things to work out. And his brother was telling me like, hey, like I think you should just do it. Like if he's doing that, like it's fucked up.
Yeah.
So I was calling him, and he wasn't answering me. And I was kind of didn't know what to do, because his brother was telling me like, okay, just go through it. And like I was telling myself like, okay, he's doing this, but I love him so much, but I know he could be a good man. I know he could be there for me.
Like you were still thinking he could change. Yeah.
At that time, yeah. And I was calling him, and I don't remember how, but we ended up talking again. I think he probably like answered my call, and obviously I was getting mad at him. I was like there's no way like you're looking up hookers on wherever, like you're messaging them, like you're doing this. And he was like, Wendy, let me just talk to you. So he ended up coming to my house. I think it was the day of the appointment.
Yeah.
He ended up coming to my house, and like he, at that time, he still wasn't even like trying. Like it was more of like talking about the abortion thing. And he was telling me, he was like, oh, like maybe we can work things out. But like I felt like it wasn't genuine. Like I knew it wasn't genuine. I was still kind of on the fence about it. And that day we were supposed to get the abortion. So he was like, Wendy, just like, let's talk about this and whatever. And I was like, okay, like I'm considering it, but I'm going to talk to the girl first. So the girl ended up answering my
Your
message.
Call?
Yeah, my message. I messaged her. I was like, hey, like, this is my boyfriend. Like, I saw that you guys were texting. Can you please like tell me what's going on? And she was super nice about it. She was just like, yeah, I met him through this app, and he was sending me this, and he was telling me this, and he was doing this. And I was asking her like, hey, like when was the last time that you guys talked? And like I was just asking her everything. And
Did they ever meet up?
No, they didn't, but they were planning to. Yeah. And the crazy part is, like, I remember getting these messages, and I was just so confused, because he was telling me, like, oh, like, she messaged me, she was trying to do this with me, but then she's telling me, oh, he sent me this, he's telling me this, he wants to meet up. So I remember on the way, we stopped for gas, and I was telling him, like, hey, like she's telling me something way completely different. And I remember slapping him. I had never slapped him, but, like, that just,
you were so angry.
I was so angry. Like I'm not that, like, I know like people like, oh, like she slaps her boyfriend, like that's the normal in relationships, but like that's how you know I'm angry, because I would never do that. And I remember slapping him, and he was like, Wendy, like she's lying, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, like you know what, like I'm gonna get the abortion, like I don't even want to try things with you. You're still lying to me, even after you're telling me that you want to keep the baby.
Even after you're giving him a potential other chance. Yeah, and
he's still lying to me. He's saying, no, she did this, she did that. So we ended up we ended up arriving at Planned Parenthood, and I told him, like, let me see your phone. Like, I was still arguing with him, like, and I was still giving him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, let me see your phone, let me see your phone. He ended up letting me see his phone, and we were waiting in the Planned Parenthood waiting room. They called us, and I had his phone. So I took the phone to the bathroom because they told me that he couldn't go with me. So I took the phone to where they took me to pee. I took the phone, and I was like, I'm just going to go through his phone right now. Like, if I find anything, like maybe
like I'll go through with it. Like if you find anything else,
and if I don't, then like it's fine. Like maybe we can work things out. But I went through his phone, and I've never gone through the recently downloaded on App Store. I've never I don't know why that time I just felt the need to go. Like I
you had a lot of suspicion, so you're like, let me fucking sacarme de la duda.
Like I don't even know why. Like I thought of that because I didn't even know you could do that. Like I was literally just going through everything. I was trying to find things. Yeah. And I didn't find anything besides the App Store. I went through his recently downloaded, and it was just all dating apps. It was like live
live chats,
like porn. It was like live porn. Like it was just I was literally scroll for like a minute. Like it was just so much. I screenshot every single thing. I sent it to my phone. And they didn't let him go in the back. So I ended up going in the back. They were telling me like, oh, hey, like, do you want to go through it? They're like, we're going to do the ultrasound. And they ended up showing me, like, I don't think they're supposed to show you the ultrasound, but they ended up showing me it. And like at that time, like it was like, she was like a small little, like it wasn't even, she wasn't even formed, but like you could see like the little arms. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen an ultrasound. Like you could just see little arms. And I remember I was like, bro, I can't do it. Like, even though like he's like doing all that to me, like I was like, I can't do that. Like, I like think like the little arms is what I'm like, bro,
that's what got you.
I ended up telling the doctor that I was like, hey, like I don't think I want to do it. Like I don't think I'm like ready to do this. And they were like, oh, like that's fine. You could still book an appointment. You still have time. Like you can think about it. And I was like, okay, like maybe like I'll just think about it. I'll take time to myself.
I'll see what's up with the relationship.
Not even that. Like at that time, I was just like, bro, like it's so much. Even then, I still had hope. Like I'm telling myself like I didn't have hope, but I did. Like that's why I didn't do it, because I obviously you had hope.
Like,
I had hope.
Obviamente, you don't go through with the abortion. What was his reaction cuando sales and you're like, I didn't do it?
It sounds dumb, but like I did have hope, and that's part of the reason why I didn't do it. Yeah. Even after all of that I found out, I walked out, and then he was like, oh, like what happened? And I told him I didn't do it. And then I think he got kind of excited. Like he thought that I was like gonna forgive him. Like he thought everything was good. And we ended up just talking, and I showed him all the things.
The stuff you found.
I showed him all the apps. I showed him everything, and he was just telling me like, oh, like I'm sorry. He was like kind of, he was kind of just asking for forgiveness. Yeah. But I was super mad. We were kind of like arguing, and I remember like the only way I thought of going through to him was through his mom, because he's such a mommy's boy. Yeah. So that's the only way I would have like been like, okay, he's gonna understand how he fucked up. So I was telling him, I was like, I'm gonna show your mom. I don't care. Like I'm gonna tell your mom everything. I'm gonna tell her I'm pregnant. I'm gonna tell her you're doing all this to me. And that's when he started giving a fuck. Like that's when he was like, no, Wendy, like I'm so sorry. Like that's when I realized like he doesn't care about me. Like he just like he cared more about what his mom was gonna say than what I was feeling.
Did you end up telling his mom or no?
No, because I remember we ended up like we were arguing the whole way home. We ended up going home, and I had the screenshots. I was like, I'm gonna send them to my mom. I remember he chased me to the bathroom. He was like, no, Wendy, you can't send them to my mom. Like, don't send them to my mom. But like he cared more about what his mom was gonna say and think. And I just remember hiding the phone. Like I was just trying like that. I don't think I was gonna send it to his mom. But like
you were just scaring him.
I was just scaring him. Yeah. Like I thought like, okay, he's gonna realize like, okay, maybe if he thinks his mom is gonna think he fucked up, then he'll realize that he did fuck up. So I don't think I ended up sending it to him, but I think we ended up talking. I'm not like everything is just like kind of a blur. Like these are these are like the small things I remember, but from there everything was a blur. I think he like did start like asking for forgiveness, and I don't really remember how it happened, but like I did end up forgiving him. I know I'm kind of dumb for that, but I mean, I had
Pasa,
hope.
you know, pasa. Yo pienso que, like they always say, you know, it takes multiple times for someone to actually leave a toxic relationship. Nos cuentas un poquito de esta situación, and you also mentioned that prior to that, you had a lot of suspicions de que estaba haciendo cosas. Was this the only time you found things, or were there like other things he did prior that you're like, what the fuck? Like, sigue pasando lo mismo.
Like how I had mentioned the Snapchat girls. I remember he was about to leave to the military, and it was the first time I had seen that he had those girls. And I kind of just brushed it off. I was just like, hey, like, that's weird. Like, you should delete them. I didn't think it was a big deal, so I just told him that. And I remember, like, the day that he was going to leave, I remember seeing them again. And I didn't know what to do because I was already ready. Like, I was going to wait for him. I was going to wait till he comes back home. And I was just confused. But like how I said, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I didn't think much of it. And from there, he ended up leaving to the military. And during that time, I think I was 18. So I was kind of like on the fence on waiting on him because I was like, he's adding these girls. I told him it bothered me. He's still doing it.
And he's far as fuck.
Yeah. And even after he was over there, like I would go through his Instagram followers and like he would follow like those.
You're like, why is it going up one?
And I would go through it and it was like those type of girls, like those like OnlyFans like type of girls. And like it was just like a repetitive thing. Like he would do. Like, it was mostly just that.
Like sketchy shit.
And he wouldn't really text them. Like, it wasn't, I guess, cheating. But just the fact that he would, like, look at those girls, it kind of made me feel some sort of way. And so when I realized that, like, maybe it isn't the best thing to wait for him, I started talking to this guy when he was away. And that just started a whole thing.
¿Se enteró él que estabas platicando con alguien?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody and he found out, and then I was telling him like, bro, like I don't know if I want to wait for you, this and that, and we just ended up like being okay again. It was just a repetitive thing. Like
it was a cycle. It was a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, and so he would do something here and there, but I would brush it off. Like I would do something, we would brush it off, and then when he finally came back home is when I got pregnant, and from there is like when all that happened.
Yo quiero saber, how was your pregnancy overall? Was he already back, you know, home when you were going through your whole pregnancy, or was he still away?
No, yeah, during, like, when we had that talk, we were talking about, like, where are we going to move in? Like, what are we going to do?
Dejó el military for you, basically?
No, he, like, for his military things, like, it's in state. Like, he just has to, like, it's kind of like a 9 to 5 during the weekend. So it wasn't that, like, big of a deal. He had to leave again. But we were talking about it, and we were like, where do we move in? Like, oh, this, that, and that. And I remember we were always like he was like, oh, I want to move into my parents' house because it's bigger.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I don't want to move into your parents' house because there's so many people. And, like, we were just going back and forth. But at the end, like, we decided that he should move into my house. And he ended up moving in. From there, I feel like everything, it was good for a while. The pregnancy, like, obviously, like, he was very, like, supportive. I would get super car sick. I would wake up and throw up. I had really bad, like, migraines. So I feel like with that, he was super understanding. He was always there for me. Like, whenever I was like, oh, like, I need water. Oh, I'm throwing up. He was there for me. So I'm not going to say, like, he was a bad boyfriend during that time. Because when he wanted to be a good boyfriend, he was.
Like, he was supportive. Yeah. He was there, yeah.
So, it was going good for a little bit. And when we were, like, everything's kind of, like, a blur to me. But I think maybe 6 months pregnant, I remember his brother and sister were sleeping over at our house. And he went to the bathroom for a long time. And during that time, I was pregnant, and I just remembered about all the other things he's done, like the Snapchat girls and everything.
And during this time, tú ya lo habías perdonado and you guys were trying to work things out?
Yeah, and it was good for 6 months. Like, we were doing good. Like, we would argue. Obviously, we would argue here and there, but, like, he hadn't done anything. And his brothers were sleeping over. And I remember he was in the bathroom for a while. And I had, like, a gut feeling. I just had a gut feeling.
Like, what the fuck is he doing? Yeah.
Like, he usually takes a while in the bathroom. But, like, during that time, I was just, like, I just had a feeling. So I walked into the bathroom, and he was on one of those apps. Like, it was, like, one of those, like live chat apps.
Yeah.
And from there, I kicked his brother out. I kicked his sister out. I kicked him out. I was like, bro, like, that's so dumb. Like, just leave. And during that time, he was, like, trying to beg me. Like, he was begging me. He was asking, like, he was asking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
So, at that time, like, I was pregnant, so I was just confused. I was like, I'm already 6 months pregnant.
Your hormones. I'm sure at the time you're like, fuck, what the fuck am I going to do with the baby and no baby daddy? Which I'm sure that was a big reason why you would forgive him a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it was mostly that, like, I just didn't want to be alone during that time. And I did end up forgiving him for that. I would tell myself it's not that big of a deal.
Like you were trying to convince yourself.
Yeah, and I would tell myself like, oh, I'm pregnant. Like we wouldn't really like have sex. So I was like, maybe that's like his way of.
Like maybe it's my fault.
Yeah, maybe it is my fault. I would blame myself. I would like, oh, like we're not having enough sex, or like maybe he doesn't enjoy it as much, which is why he's like on those apps and watching those girls. And I ended up forgiving him because I would tell myself it's not that big of a deal. And from there, I think maybe he did it one more time, but again, I forgave him.
Quiero platicar un poquito, you know. Pienso que tu historia, which thank you so much for opening up. I feel like you've never told this story,
no, I don't
right?
Think
Yo
I
pienso
have.
que la gente debe pensar que nomás lo dejaste nomás por nomás. Obviamente esto que te ha pasado a ti, yo pienso que hay muchas mujeres that can relate to this story, you know. ¿Cómo te hizo sentir eso como mujer?
I feel like I would just blame myself. Like I was more disappointed in myself. Like I would be like, maybe I'm not doing this good enough for him. Maybe I'm not giving him enough of this. Like I would honestly just blame myself, and
you wouldn't feel enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel like I was enough, and that's why I forgave him as well, because I was like, okay, I should probably do this more. I should probably like be this way towards him more. So I feel like it was more like I just felt like it was my fault.
Would you ever like compare yourself to like the girls he would see?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really like I didn't really see the girls that he would see besides like the Instagram girls. But yeah, I would compare myself. I think it was mostly the Instagram girls, like obviously like I was
BBLs
pregnant.
and
Yeah,
all that
I was
stuff.
pregnant.
Yeah.
I was gaining a lot of weight. So I was kind of just like, I just blamed myself. I was like, oh, like I'm not good enough for that.
Today's episode is brought to you by Alma. Alma believes that therapy is more impactful when you feel heard and understood. That's why they help people find a therapist who really gets them, the right someone to talk to, not just anyone. Alma can help you find a therapist who gets you. When you browse the directory, you can filter by what you want to focus on, for example, anxiety, relationship, or big life transitions, as well as any preference around gender, sexuality, faith, and more. Alma can help you find a therapist who takes your insurance. People who find in-network care through Alma save an average of 77% on the cost of therapy. It's easy to get started with Alma. Browse the directory without creating an account or sharing payment information. You can book a free consultation call with any therapist you're interested in seeing. These 15-minute calls give you a chance to see if they're a good fit for you, so you can find someone you really click with. Even though I'm currently not in therapy, I know the importance of having someone in my life who truly understands where I'm coming from. For those of you guys that follow me, obviamente ustedes saben that the past month and a half has been one of the hardest months of my life, and going through everything I've been through this past month with my grandpa's passing, I wish I could have been in therapy prior and during the process to really help me kind of navigate these feelings of grief y todo lo que he estado sintiendo este último mes, amigas. Pero no es muy tarde to join therapy. If you've been considering finding a licensed professional to help you work through your own life challenges, give Alma a try. Alma can help you find the right therapist for you, not just anyone. Visit helloalma.com/Alan to get started and schedule a free consultation today. That's helloalma.com/Alan. You know, lo perdonaste multiple times, and, you know, you give birth, which, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about you becoming a mother right now. Pero yo quiero saber, a los 2 meses after you giving birth, you know, lo dejas completamente, and you're like, you know what, hasta aquí. Quiero saber qué pasó, or what made you take that very hard decision, especially having a newborn.
The thing was that he kind of left me, because during that time, we were good. Like he wasn't doing that stuff anymore. Like obviously we were arguing a lot during that time, and I remember Valentina was 2 months old, and he would leave during the weekends to go with his friends, and I wasn't trying to be like that toxic girlfriend. So I would let him. I would like, okay, he's going out on the weekends, it's fine. Like I'm just gonna be with Valentina. Like it's not that big of a deal. He deserves to go out. And after a while, like it was just weekends, and I was like, okay, it's just weekends. But then it started turning into weekdays, and he would go with his friends during the weekdays. He would have his friends come over while I'm with Valentina, and just stuff like that. So it was just too much. Like he was spending more time with his friends than with me and Valentina. And I remember I started telling him like, hey, like can we please like just spend time together? Like it's like I'm with Valentina during the weekends. Like I would like to go out. And he would say yeah, obviously, like he was not gonna say like, oh yeah, no, but he would say yeah. And I remember one time, this was what started the argument, one time he told me like, okay, Wendy, we're gonna go on a date, me and you. Your mom's gonna watch Valentina, and we're gonna do something. And when the day came around, he told me, hey, can I hang out with my friends in the morning, and after we'll go out. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'll just stay with Valentina, and after my mom can watch her. I was like, that's fine. Go out with them in the morning. You do whatever you want to do. And then the time, like, it started going by and by and by. And it started getting late. So I called him. I was like, hey, like, are we going to go out? He was like, yeah, but can my friends go over for a little bit? And
Y tú ya arreglada y lista.
Yeah. I was literally like, I was ready to go out with him. He was like, can my friends go over for a little bit? His friends ended up going over, and you could tell, like, they were making jokes that I was mad. Like they were like, oh, she's
They're
mad.
clowning you.
Yeah, they were like, oh,
güey, está enojada.
Yeah, she's mad. Like, we should probably leave. And he did end up telling them to leave because I was mad, and I felt bad because I was like, I don't want to seem like that girlfriend,
like that toxic baby mama. Yeah,
but
yeah.
we had made plans, and they ended up leaving, and he was like, okay, like, we're gonna go out, and he started asking me what I wanted to do, and I was like, oh, like, I don't know what I want to do, like, I just want to go out. And me thinking he had something planned like that, I thought it was a date. Like, I thought he was like, oh, I'm gonna take you out here and there, but instead he was just like, oh, I don't know what to do. And
Pero bien que con los amigos sí sabía qué hacer.
Yeah, and then we started driving, and he just kept saying like, oh, I don't know what to do, and obviously I got mad at him. I was just like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? Like, we had planned this. You could have at least just said, let's go to the movies, let's go to the mall, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah.
And we ended up going home because I got mad at him. And from there, I started telling him, like, you're spending money on your friends instead of me and Valentina. Because at that time, like, it was just him making money.
Yeah.
I would make money off TikTok, and it wasn't that much, but it would go into his card. And I wouldn't really keep count. Like, I was like, oh, that's my money. Like, you're using my money. But after a while, we had a certain amount of money saved. And then when we had the argument, I realized that all that money was gone, and, like, we didn't. Yeah, and he would spend it with his friends because he would go out with them. Like, there was nothing else he would spend it on. So I told him, I was like, you're spending my money, your money, our money on your friends instead of me and Valentina. You're going out with them. You're not spending time with me and Valentina. And you're not being here for us. And I don't know, like, why I do this, but I kind of told him, I was like, oh, just go with your mom. Because I thought that was going to make him realize, okay, like, she's kicking me out. Like, I should probably, like, get shit together and... Like, maybe
knock some sense into him. Yeah.
And, like, I think I fucked up in doing that, but I told him, like, just go with your mom, like, whatever. I thought he was going to call me the next morning and tell me, hey, like, I'm sorry about all that, like, I'll do better. But instead, that night, I saw his friend's Instagram story, and he went out with them. And then I had his other phone, or I think I had his login, and I was going through it, and he started texting girls. He texted a girl on Snapchat. So I logged into Snapchat. I saw that. I texted the girl, and the girl was so nice. She was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I have kids myself." She was older. She was probably like my mom's age. Yeah. And,
oh shit.
And she was like, "I have kids myself. I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I'm so sorry." And at that time, he wasn't answering my calls. Like, when I saw that, I was calling him, like, I was obviously mad, and I think he knew that I found out because, like, it logs you out of Snapchat.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I think he knew that I found
He's
out.
Like, fuck, me cacharon, yeah.
So he wasn't answering, and, like, I was freaking out because I had Valentina, and then he wasn't answering me, and he's texting this girl, and he's out already, and I was like, fuck, bro, like, I don't know what to do. I kept calling him. He wasn't answering me, and, like, I just started freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I called his dad, and his dad, like, they were just making excuses for him, his mom as well, and then we did end up talking. I think, no, I kept calling him, like, it was, I don't know how long it was, but I kept calling him. I think maybe it was a week or two, and he wouldn't answer me. A week or two, I would call his mom, his dad, and after a while, they kind of got annoyed with me, and I remember so vividly that I was calling his mom, and she wouldn't answer, and then I called his dad, and they were just making excuses for him, and like, obviously it hurt. Like, I get it, it's your son, but I mean,
see my point of view.
Like, it was a week or two that we hadn't talked, or we hadn't even, like, had a conversation. I'm trying to get in contact with him, and, like, it's just me and Valentina there, so it was just a lot. I honestly, like, it was, like, a lot of it is a blur, but yeah, like, we went, like, I think a week or two without talking at all, and then he started answering my calls, and we were talking about, like
what's gonna happen.
Well, I was telling him, like, hey, like, I have Valentina, like, you need to pick her up, like, you need to do something. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna go see her after work. I'm gonna go see her. and he went after work. I remember he was so done. Like, I was begging him. Like, I was begging his mom. I was begging his dad. I was
Like, to
begging
get
him.
back with
to
you?
get back with him. I was like,
¿Y qué te decía
Carlos.
él?
I remember when he went to go see her for the first time after a week or two. I remember he was like, oh, I just want to see her. Like, I don't want to see you. I just want to be with her outside. So I was like, okay, you guys can be outside for a little bit. It's fine. And I remember, like, it hurt so bad. I was like, hey, can I, like, just sit down outside with you guys? And he was like, no. And it hurt bad because I just wanted to be with them,
Yeah.
whether we're together or not. Like, I just wanted to be with him and be with Valentina. And I don't know why that hurt so bad, just him telling me no to sit with them and, like, be with them. And after that, he wouldn't really, like, see her. He wouldn't pick her up. We did talk about it, but, like, it was just super, like, inconsistent. Like, he would say that he's going to go see her, and then he never went to go see her. He would say that he's going to pick her up. He never went to go pick her up. And I think it had passed, like, 2 months when he was finally like, okay, like, I'm going to go pick her up. I'm going to take her these certain days.
Nos cuentas un poquito de esto. And I'm sure que en ese momento, every single time that he would either, you know, talk to these girls or whenever you guys would have problems, I'm sure que tú pues obviamente no le decías a tus hermanas, a tu mamá, mucho menos, because you obviously wanted to protect him and you didn't want them to see him differently. Obviamente, he doesn't want you back. He says it's over. Y pues tú tienes que darle una explicación a tu mamá y a tu hermanas. What was it like when you told your mom everything that was going on? Y cómo reaccionaron the people around you when you told them?
I didn't even want to tell anybody. I don't think I told, I think I did tell my mom because she saw me crying about the girl that I saw on, like, the hooker thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did end up telling her that, and that was the only thing I told her. I didn't tell her anything else. I was just, I was kind of just closed off. I was like, they would ask me, like, what happened. My mom would constantly ask me, like, hey, like, are you guys good? Like, what's happening? And I wouldn't tell her because I just didn't want to, like, talk about it, or I didn't want to, like, drag her along. I didn't want Carlos to seem like the bad guy. And, like, at that time, like, I did have a friend. My mom would ask me, but, like, I wouldn't want to tell her because I was more embarrassed, so I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Like, it was just me. Like, I just had that with Valentina. Like, it was just me and her.
Obviamente nos cuentas de que, you know, he was very absent at the beginning. And you were, you know, juggling this thing of, like, you know, I'm a first-time mom. You know, some shit's going crazy in my relationship. Do you feel like it was very hard for you to, like, put yourself together emotionally after that?
I didn't realize at the time. I think at that time I was more focused on, like, okay, I'm gonna be with Valentina. Like, obviously it hurt and stuff, but I didn't really let it take over, like me being a mother. And I didn't realize that it affected me until now. Like, looking back at it, I was super, like, I wasn't as affectionate with Valentina. Like, I wasn't, like, I feel like we didn't have that, I didn't have that connection with Valentina because I was so focused on this thing, and then, like, I had her, and then I had this. Like, it was just a lot going on. So I feel like that just affected the way I was, like, towards Valentina in the beginning.
I think it had a lot to do with how, you know, quick, you know, after giving birth, things happened to where you were in your mind, you're like, you know what, I'm just trying to get my life back, my relationship back, my little family back. Que obviamente you feel like you neglected maybe, like, being with Valentina, or you weren't there for her. I mean, I'm sure you were there for her, but, like, maybe emotionally, like, mentally, you're like, fuck, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know, my baby daddy me acaba de mandar a la chingada. ¿Qué voy a hacer sin él? Con mi hija, you know, nos cuentas un poquito de esto, y también nos cuentas, you know, that after, you know, a month or two, you guys started kind of getting on a schedule when it came to co-parenting. Was it hard at first? Like, did he give you a hard time at the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like he was just like he would, I think during that time, he would only pick her up weekends. And when he did pick her up, he wouldn't even say hi to me. Like, he would just pick up Valentina and leave. And he wouldn't even say hi to my mom. He wouldn't say hi to anybody. He just picked up Valentina and left. And obviously, like, I felt some sort of way because I was like at least, like, say
like a
something.
hello, yeah.
And we wouldn't even text. Like, the only reason we would text was like, hey, pick her up this day. So just the fact that he couldn't even man up and talk to me, whether it's about Valentina, whether it's about what he did, whether it's about, like, what we're gonna do, like, it's just he didn't man up and talk to me during that time.
Durante ese tiempo él no te pidió perdón, ni te dijo, ni te dio explicaciones,
no, I
nada?
think during that time, like, I don't know why, but he was mad at me for everything. Like, he wouldn't talk to me, he wouldn't say anything to me. When he would see me, he gave me, like, a stink face. I don't know why, but during that time, like, it made me feel guilty because I was like, why is he mad at me? Like, what did I do? Did I do something to him for him to be mad at me or treat me a certain way?
Durante ese proceso, obviamente, you become a single mother at 2 months after giving birth. What do you feel like was the hardest thing for you to either adapt to or accept after, the relationship fell off?
I feel like being a first-time mother is hard in general, but also going through what I went through with my baby daddy, and just the fact that I was never around kids. Like I hadn't, before I had Valentina, I had never changed a diaper, so I was basically like I was just there by myself, and my mom would help me a lot, but I kind of was just like I wish Carlos was here to do this with me, because Carlos, he has younger sisters, so he changed their diapers, he knows how to treat babies, he knows what to do when a baby's crying, he knows what to do when a baby's doing this and that. So I feel like I just wanted Carlos to be there. Like, my mom helped me a lot, my mom taught me a lot, my mom showed me how to do a lot of things, but I just wanted him to be there, like at least to experience a lot of things with each other.
Platicamos un poquito de tu infancia about how, like, for a long time, you kind of blamed your mom for not being able to keep your guys' family together. Do you feel like during that time, were you blaming yourself for not being able to keep you and your little family together?
Yeah, I feel like even before I gave birth, like during my pregnancy, like I kind of blame myself, like the whole app thing that he was downloading. I was telling myself, like, I'm not doing this enough for him. And then after, I was telling myself, like, like I could have begged him even more. I could have talked to his mom. And during that time, like when I was begging him, I remember he told me that the only way it worked out is if I moved in with his family. And like, obviously I've only lived with my mom, so I was kind of iffy about it. And I would always, like, I was thinking about that. I was like if I did move in with his mom, like maybe it would have worked out. Maybe I should have moved in with them. And it was just like I kept blaming myself because of that reason.
But I feel like, maybe it didn't work out because it wasn't supposed to work out. You know what I mean? Al fin del día yo pienso que uno de mujer se culpa mucho por algo que no es, that is not under your control. Él hizo sus cosas porque él quería, or whatever the reason is. But it's very common for, the women to feel, some type of way and almost culparse ellos mismos. Durante este tiempo, you guys start the co-parenting. It's kind of rocky. Did he ever try to, like, get back together?
No, I think it was last year in, like, December. So Valentina was already, like maybe, like, 9 months, if I'm doing the math correctly. That's when he kind of started, like, asking me for forgiveness, but I had already moved on. Like, I was talking to Mustang Boy, and, like, my life was going good. I was doing the TikTok things, so I was kind of, like, iffy about it, but I was still, like, I remember he asked me if we could talk, and I got excited. Yeah. Like, even if I was, like I was, like, ready to move on, like, I got excited. I was like, okay, he wants to talk. Like, he finally realized that he fucked up.
Like, you also were thinking, like, I'm finally gonna get closure.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's mostly what it was. Like, I was like, okay, like, he wants to talk finally. But, like, he would ask me, like, hey, like, I want to work things out. But at that time, like, I was already over him. Obviously, I still got excited, but I was over him. I had realized, like, what he did was fucked up. Like, at that time, I didn't realize it, but, like, I started to realize it as the time went by. And then just the fact that he was asking for forgiveness when I was already moving on.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it, like, he doesn't want me to move on. Like, that's why he's asking me for forgiveness, because he doesn't want me to be happy. He doesn't want me to get in a new relationship. He wants to be that person, and when it's too late.
Do you feel like, nos cuentas de que en ese momento you were all happy? Did you ever, in your mind, be like, you know what, maybe sí le voy a dar otra oportunidad?
Yeah, well, he had asked for forgiveness, and I was kind of like standoffish. I was just like, I don't know. And then we did start hanging out here and there, but as we hung out more, I kind of realized I am over him. Like, I don't like him as much as I did when I was 18. And, like, those feelings just weren't there.
Hablamos mucho de todo lo que te estaba pasando en ese momento. Y a mí me gusta platicar mucho de el postpartum depression. Why? Porque siento como que es algo that should be normalized because it happens more often than people think. Was that something that you went through?
Well, yeah, like, I feel like in the beginning it was way worse. I honestly, I did all my research about pregnancy, about having a baby, about like everything except for that. So when it hit me, I was super confused. I remember, like, the first time I realized it was when I think Valentina was like maybe like a month old, like 3 weeks old. Carlos's family went to my house to go see Valentina, and I remember, like, we were just talking, and I started crying out of nowhere. Like, I was with his, like, I think they were his cousins. We were just talking. I started crying out of nowhere. And I didn't know why. Like, I just started crying,
Yeah.
like, for no reason. And I was trying to, like think about why I was crying. I remember after that, like, it happened a few times before that. But after that, one time, like, I cried. Like, I literally cried in front of his family.
Yeah.
And after that, I searched up, like, why am I crying out of nowhere? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up coming up, like, baby blue, or what is it
The
called?
baby blues?
Baby
Yeah,
blues,
yeah.
And I saw that, and it was like, oh, it only lasts, like, this certain amount of time. So I was just like, okay, maybe I just have that. Maybe it's just going to last for a little bit. But after a while, like, I started, like, thinking about it, and I realized that, like, I didn't feel like I had a connection with Valentina. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I loved her, and, like, I
just feel
her.
like so much was going on in your life at the time.
Yeah, and I just felt like I just didn't feel a connection with her, and I was searching that up, and it was just like, oh, postpartum, and I kind of just tried to ignore it. Like, I was just like, okay, whatever, like, it's whatever. And I feel like it has gotten better now, but I do think I still go through it. And I remember, like, literally, like, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I asked my friends, I was like, do you guys think postpartum lasts, like, even after, like, a year and, like, 4 months? And it does. I searched it up. It lasts a while, and some women go through it, like, for up to 2 years.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, so now, like looking back at how I was, like, in the beginning, or how I felt in the beginning, like, it makes so much sense, because that's what it was.
During your postpartum period, did it ever get super bad where it took you to a very dark space?
Honestly, looking back, like, I know I had it, but I feel like I just try to ignore it. Like, I just try to, like, go through it. I try to wake up every morning to be there for Valentina. And sometimes, like, I would think about it, and I'm like, fuck, like, looking back, I mean, I don't really, like, remember much. Like, I know I had postpartum depression, but I don't think I ever got to the point where it was, like, that bad. I knew I had it, because I just felt like there was no connection with me, Valentina. As much as, like, I was with her, like, 24/7, but I just felt like there was something missing. I felt like I wasn't really there. I felt like I was just...
You felt disconnected.
Yeah, I feel like I was just, like, on co-pilot. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, like autopilot.
Yeah,
I think
autopilot.
Yeah,
I was just, like, doing things, and I wasn't really there in the moment.
You were just trying to get by. You know, you were trying to get by through the days, the weeks, the months. Que es obviamente algo que suele pasar mucho. During that time, you were going through a lot of stuff with your relationship, que obviamente was really fogging up, like, your whole mindset and everything, because you were so focused on, you know, how heartbroken you were, because that's what it was. Hablamos mucho, you know, del postpartum, y también nos platicaste mucho about not feeling enough as a partner, as not feeling enough, you know, como mujer, por todo lo que te estaba pasando. What's a piece of advice you can give to those watching at home that have maybe gone through something similar, where they might have been cheated on, or that are going through postpartum? What's a piece of advice you can give them?
A piece of advice I can give is that it'll get better. I know it's easier said than done. Like, if somebody told me back then, like, it'll get better, I probably would have just ignored it, because you at that time, like, you think, oh, it's not going to get better. It's going to be like this. I'm going to feel heartbroken. I'm going to feel sad forever. But it does get better. And I know it's hard to tell yourself that, but it does.
I feel like time really does heal. Y yo sé, si ustedes no están mirando ahorita en casita, you know, don't give up on yourself. You know, keep showing up for yourself, because en verdad que sí, everything's gonna get better. Nos cuentas de todo lo que te ha pasado mal en el amor. Yo quiero saber cómo le va a Wendy en el amor. Are you currently dating, looking? Cuéntanos.
Well, right now, I recently got out of, like, a casi algo situation. So... I'm, like, freshly single. I was, like, looking for, like, a committed relationship. That's what I want. I want somebody to be with me. I want somebody to be ready to be in the committed relationship. I want somebody to know that they want me. And I feel like I wasn't getting that. And even with my baby daddy, with my first ex, with this previous relationship that I was, like, kind of in, I just don't realize that, like, I deserve somebody who does want me, who knows what they want, and who is ready to be in a committed relationship with me.
Y tú te mereces el mundo, amiga. Aquí estoy sentado contigo, and I genuinely mean it. Te mereces el mundo y más. Hablando de lo que tú quieres, what is the ideal man for Wendy? If you can be like, you know what, you got to check this list, this list, this list. What does the ideal man for Wendy have to do? Like, just love me.
Yeah. No, that's it. Just kidding. No, I feel like recently, like, that's what I've been, like, thinking about, because I obviously, like, I know what I want, what I don't want from my relationship with my baby daddy. And even right now, like, with what I had going on, like, I see the things and I notice them. I feel like I just want somebody to know what they want. Like, just be certain that they want to be with me. And also, it is different because I have a daughter. So that's, like, something else added to it. But obviously, I'm not going to be with somebody who isn't ready to be in a relationship with me and ultimately my daughter.
Do you feel like it's been hard for you to find that person que en verdad te quiera a ti and would also want to like take you and your daughter in?
Obviously, like I've talked to a couple guys, like I've had my relationships after my baby daddy. I think it is hard finding somebody who wants to be that committed at such a young age.
Hablamos un poquito de, obviamente, you know, you trying to find someone to settle with. He mirado mucho en los comentarios que mucha gente te critica for trying to redo your life, you know, for trying to, you know, be in a relationship and for trying to ultimately be a family again with your new partner and Valentina. Does that ever get to you cuando la gente te critica when it comes to like you trying to find love?
Yeah, the comments do get to me sometimes. Obviously, like people are like, oh, don't read them, just ignore them. But you want to know what people are saying about you. And when I read those comments, like people are mad that I'm like going out or like even having a boyfriend or whatever it is, people are mad at me for that. But I also like, I hope people realize that my life didn't end when I had a kid. I know it's different for a lot of people, but I do co-parent, so I deserve to find that person. So does my baby daddy. Like, he deserves to be in a relationship. He deserves to date as much as I do.
Y miré apenas algo, Hoy miré en tu en vivo, and I did see it clipped already. Hoy, literal, hoy salió la noticia that your baby daddy is off the market porque ya está con una relación. Y miré que en los comentarios they were like, Wendy, how do you feel about that? Y obviamente you were joking, you know.
Yeah.
Pero yo quiero saber, ¿cómo te hace sentir eso? Obviamente, like, does that make you feel some type of way, or are you genuinely, like, happy for him?
I think I'm genuinely happy for him. I mean, I remember I would always think about it. I would, like, when we broke up, I would be like, oh, what am I going to do when he gets a new girlfriend? Like, how are things going to be? Am I going to be sad about it? But now that it's actually happening, like, I feel like I care less than I thought I would. I thought I was going to care more and be hurt. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he deserves to be happy. I know he's a good boyfriend, and I know he deserves, like, a good girlfriend. So, at the end of the day, like, I'm happy for him. And he can do whatever he wants.
Obviamente, the end goal is que Valentina tenga loving parents are on both sides. Do you feel like, you know, when you start hearing or when you like think about like, oh man, my baby daddy's gonna have to redo his life with someone else que no eres tú? Do you ever think about like, oh, I just hope he gets someone que quiera a Valentina igual que tú la quieres?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's different because we both know, like, even with my like past relationships, like we both know that Valentina's not really going to be, like, it's our own relationship. It has nothing to do with Valentina. And I feel like we're still young, so that might not be, like, Valentina's stepmom, but I feel like right now we both know, like, just to keep that away, like, keep Valentina away from our relationships.
And that's good, you know, I feel like especially because no la quieres confundir a ella con algo que a lo mejor dices tú, a lo mejor it's not a for everything. Yo quiero platicar de algo reciente. So, hace poco saliste en el video musical de Marca MP, which let me say, yo lo miré literal el mismo día que salió, and I was so gagged over a lot of things, especialmente el beso, que ahorita vamos a platicar un poquito más de eso. Yo quiero saber cómo pasó todo esto. Te mandó un mensaje, you know, chato. ¿Cómo pasó? Cuéntanos un poquito de how that came to be.
The first time I met him, I didn't know who he was, but I met him through a friend, and that friend was live, and everybody in the comments was like, chato, 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 chato. And I was like, who is that? Like, I don't know. I didn't know him. Like, I never heard any of their songs. So I remember we had gone to my friend's house, and he came up to me, and he was like, hey, my name's Chato, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would love for you to be in a music video. And I was like, yeah, of course, like, I'd love to. But that was a while ago. That was almost, like, I want to say, like, 5 months ago.
So, like, around December time?
Yeah, okay. So it was a while ago. After a while, I was like, oh, he was probably just saying that. But then he ended up texting me. He was like, hey, like, I don't know if you remember, but I had asked you if you wanted to be in a music video. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm down to still do it. And it happened super fast. Like, he had texted me, and literally, like, 2 weeks later, we were, like, filming the music video.
How was that whole thing? Obviamente miré tu vlog, but how was that experience? Like, obviamente era tu primera vez being a video vixen. Así es como se le dice, no? I think that's what it's called, right? Like a music video vixen. How was that? Like, you know, obviamente it's a big-ass production for, like, a 3-minute video. Was it overwhelming? What do you think was, like, the hardest thing when it came down to, like, you being in that music video?
I feel for the music video, I was as nervous as I am to do this. Like, it's because I get super nervous. Like, I don't know why. I'm just, like, a nervous person. So for that, I was super nervous. I remember, like, the first scene that they made us film, I literally, like, I had to tell them to redo it. Like, I had to ask them, like, I asked my friend, I was like, hey, do I look good? Like, is it good? I was just overthinking, and I honestly didn't know that music videos, like, like they filmed so much, and it was like 2 clips that I was in. I was like,
you're like, no mames, yo
like
aquí
3
como
days.
3 días grabando,
It was like 3 days of filming, so yeah.
I really like the outfit que traías al último. I wish that outfit was more in the video.
The
El vestido,
dress, the black
vestido.
dress,
I literally got so mad cuando lo estaba viendo because that was actually when I was seeing like everything happen like live. Cuando subías fotos like BTS vibes. I was so sad when I saw that dress was only in for like a little clip. Hablando de que me dejó sin palabras en la boca, yo quiero platicar del beso.
Yeah. Honestly, it was super awkward just because me and Chato, like, that was our second time meeting. So it was just like weird vibes. We were like all up on each other on a second time meeting. So when it was time for the kiss, I remember we were just like, it's also awkward because it's silent.
Yeah.
Like, there's no music. So it's so awkward. And he was just like, oh, can I kiss you? I was like, yeah. But at that moment, like, I wasn't planning to kiss him. Like, I don't know why.
You thought it was like a peck, or did you think it was like a full blow?
I think it was gonna be I thought it was gonna be a peck, and then it ended up being like a little makeout. And
little makeout. I'm like, that shit looked hella romantic.
Yeah, and then after I was like, fuck, like, I can't believe like I just did that. But I could say like people are like, oh my god, I would have fallen in love, but
you're like, it's gonna take more than just a kiss.
Yeah, you could like you could just tell like, oh, it's just like a little thing, you know? Like,
when you guys got done kissing, where you're like, oh my god.
No, yeah, it was just like
like
whatever.
Yeah, you're like, next scene. That's crazy. No, hemos visto que obviamente te hemos visto con gente de fuerza régida. You know, ayer estuviste con muchos más artistas. Who is, the biggest artist you have in your DMs? It doesn't have to be like, love-wise or like her, hitting you up or anything. Who is the biggest artist that's been in your DMs or in your contacts?
I think probably it has to be Eslabon. Like they, like their mom, I think she runs the Instagram page. Like they texted me. Yeah, it was just something like that, but I don't really get like texts. Like, it's usually everything's run through my manager. So
it's like tú nomás llegas al lugar y haces lo que tienes que hacer, which is like the good thing, Platicando de esto, yo quiero platicar ya casi para terminar lo que viene siendo la entrevista. Ya vamos a llegar como a la última parte. Yo quiero platicar about social media. Social media comes with a lot of positives, pero también viene with a lot of negatives. Y yo pienso que there's never a day where I don't go on my For You page and there's a video made of you, of a live or whatever it is. And cuando te metes a los comentarios, hay un chingo de hate. ¿Cómo le haces tú con eso? How do you deal with the hate comments? Does it ever get to you? If so, cuéntanos un poquito más de eso.
There are a few times the hate comments have gotten to me, but I feel like the more hate comments, the more like numb I am to it. Like, at this point, like, I've gotten called Tia Wendy, Wanga Wendy, whatever it is. Like, I don't even care. Like, I feel like other people are like, oh my god, I don't know how she does it, but like, to me, it's just like another person, another comment.
Before you started getting to that point where you're like, me vale verga, did it ever like affect you?
Yeah, I think the only comments that do affect me is the ones that are like, call me bad mother or say I'm a deadbeat mom or whatever it is. I feel like those comments affect me because how I had said, like, the postpartum depression, like, you tell yourself that you're such a bad mom, or you tell yourself that you're not doing enough. So I feel like me still going through that, me getting those comments, like, it definitely added onto that. And people are like, oh, if she knew she was a good mom, she wouldn't be crying or listening to the comments. But it's not that. It's just like the postpartum depression. Like, no matter what, I know a lot of moms do go through that, and they think they're a bad mom. They tell themselves they're not doing enough. So it's just my own thoughts and then the comments getting to me.
I think it also has a lot to do with, obviamente, as a person and as a mom, that you're trying your best to be the best mom possible to Valentina. You're getting your bag. You're working hard for her. Y cuando miras que hay un chingo de gente, like, telling you something that you aren't, pues da mucha impotencia, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, what else do I have to do to prove these people? Not even prove, but to make these people be like, oh, you know what? She's actually a good mother. She's trying. Because ellos miran un poquito de toda tu vida y piensan que, pues, obviamente te conocen. Hablando del mommy shaming, quiero platicar un poquito más de esto. One of the big, big mommy shaming comments that you get is de toda la ayuda que agarras tú with your family, specifically with your mom.
Yeah.
Cuéntanos un poquito más de eso. Ha llegado la gente a decirte, como dices tú, tía Wendy, ¿cómo te hace sentir todo eso? Y cuéntanos un poquito más about, that whole situation.
With those comments, I mean, I just brushed those off because, like, I do have a village. I'm super grateful for my mom, for my sisters, for my baby daddy's parents. Like, they all helped me so much. And without them, like, it would be a struggle. So obviously, like, I'm not gonna listen to those comments because I'm grateful to have that.
What's your, co-parenting schedule? ¿Quién tiene a la niña these weeks? What's that like?
Our co-parenting schedule right now is a little different because I do have to come out here for certain things. So when I come out here and let's say like I'm gone for like a week, he takes her for a week, or vice versa. He does something for a week, I take her for a week. But usually like when I am over there and I don't have to come over here, I take her for the week and he takes her weekends.
I feel like a lot of, that mom shaming started, I think like 3 weeks ago when it got really bad. I remember there was so many TikToks being made about you. Fue cuando literal grabamos con tu hermana, con Johanna. Si no han visto ese episodio, amigas, vayan a verlo. Me acuerdo que ese fin de semana empezaron esas críticas bien feas. What does your mom think of all this? Because I feel like a lot of people also like to drag your mom into it. Like, pobrecita señora, like, ayúdenle, like, pobrecita. How does your mom feel about everything that goes on, especially online, when it comes to the way they think she's taking care of, her nieta?
I remember when that whole like thing was going on like 3 weeks ago. I remember we went back home and my mom saw the comments and she was just telling me like you know who you are. Your family knows who you are. Your family knows that you're with her like most of the time. And if my mom wants to take care of her, it's because she wants to. And she was just telling me that like don't get upset. Like don't even read those comments because you know who you are at the end of the day, and so does your family.
Going back to, the whole co-parenting thing, yo pienso que hay mucha gente que piensan que las semanas que tu hija está con tu baby daddy, piensan que tú tienes que quedar ahí bonita esperando a que te la regresen. Like, you are in all your right to go out and do whatever the hell you want to do en el tiempo que no estás con ella. You know what I mean? En el tiempo que sí lo estás presente, estás ahí. Do you ever feel like, because of all this mommy shaming, do you ever feel like you have the pressure of being like this perfect mom?
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even want to go live because people are going to say, oh, she dropped this and she gave it to her. Oh, she didn't do this. Oh, she's tired. Oh, she's crying because she hasn't fed her. Like, I get scared to go live because I'm like, they're going to critique no matter how good of a mom like someone is on social media. They're going to find one little thing that you do wrong. I kind of stopped going live for a little bit just because of that. Like, I feel like I need to be a perfect mom on live. But also I feel like since I don't go live sometimes, people are like, oh, she's not with her daughter. Like this past week, I only posted her 2 days of the week. And people are like, oh, she was only with her daughter for 2 weeks and she's leaving again. Like, no, I just don't want to post her. And also I have the right, like, if I don't want to post Valentina, I don't have to. If I want to post me coming to California, like, whatever I post, that doesn't mean I'm not with Valentina. Or that doesn't show who I am off cameras.
I feel like people are so entitled to like knowing every single thing. Cuando pasó todo eso, te regresaste para atrás, estuviste kind of MIA like for like a week or two maybe, Y me acuerdo, te lo comento porque miré un TikTok y te miré en los comentarios and I'm like, ooh, I like that way of thinking because era un video, durante ese tiempo pienso que la gente todavía pensaba like, oh, she's not back home. Y era un video que posteaste con una persona, I think it was like a drink or shot, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh my gosh, she's still not home. Sin saber que tú ya tenías como toda una pinche semana being back home, but like you hadn't showed it because like you were going through so much online. And I feel like people sometimes forget, especially with like YouTube videos, you guys, like things with YouTube take a little longer than they do with lives. I feel like lives are very like the day of, you see everything that's happening to that person en ese momento. But with like YouTube videos, obviamente ustedes están viendo este video el viernes, pero nosotros estamos grabando esto una semana antes. Entonces piensan, como ahorita, yo puedo ver, they probably think like, oh my gosh, she came back
she's
like
there,
for the Eslabón Armado concert. Like, oh my gosh, she's still there.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, no way, ella está en su casa, está a gusto, está con su hija. Nomás que ustedes hablan por hablar. Does that ever get hard? Like, especially, I mean, I know you say you don't care, but does it ever get hard where you're like, fuck, like nunca, aunque diga algo, la gente todavía no me va a entender?
As much as I say I don't care, like I do care because people assume things and I'm always there, like I want to tell them like, no, it's this way, no, it's that way. But at the end of the day, like, no matter how much I try to explain myself, no matter how much I show me being a mom, no matter how many times I tell them that her dad takes her for those certain days, like they're gonna keep saying shit. And that's why I say I don't care, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to win. Like,
y ellos no saben lo que en verdad pasa behind the scenes, and I feel like it's really, I enjoy, you know, seeing you kind of stand up for yourself because hay mucha gente que critica, dicen cosas nomás porque tienen un hocico y les gusta decir cosas que ni ellos saben. And, you know, even though, like you said, even though you can say how it really is, la gente todavía va a querer pensar en la manera que ellos piensan. Hablando un poquito más de, you know, being a mom, ¿cómo tú sientes que te ha cambiado la vida being a mom?
I think my favorite part of being a mom is probably just watching Valentina grow. I feel like everybody says that, but just like looking back at videos and seeing how small she was, and then now she's starting to say words, like she walks, she runs now. Like I feel like just watching her grow and become like have her own personality. I love that.
What do you feel like has been the hardest thing to adapt to when it comes to being a mother? Especially, te lo pregunto porque pienso que es algo que suele pasar mucho with first-time moms. It's very hard to adjust to that new life change. Yeah. What do you think was the hardest thing for you to adapt?
Honestly, the hardest thing was probably just like waking up early, like being up, not being able to sleep, or like not being able to nap for however long. I think that's just the hardest part, but obviously it also gets stressful. Like as much as people say like, oh my gosh, she's not patient, whatever, like it's a baby. Yeah. Like I feel like the people who aren't parents like don't understand, like parents get frustrated, parents they want a break, whether I do get a break when my baby daddy takes her, like during those days are long. Like when Valentina's running around, when she's doing that, I have to be after her. Like those days are long, and I do need a break at the end of the day. Whether it's 10-minute break, whether it's a shower break, whether it's like 2 hours, like I do need a break sometimes. And I feel like people don't understand that it is hard, and I'm human at the end of the day. Like I need my own time as well.
Y pienso que hay mucha gente que piensa que nomás porque eres mamá es todo lo que there is to you. Mm-hmm. You obviously have personal goals. You actually want to create something out of nothing. No nomás para ti, but also para tu hija. Porque si tú empiezas, you know, like you say, you're trying to get your bag up, you're trying to make money. It's not just for you, because at the end of the day, todos esos frutos van a ser también para tu hija. She's going to be able to be like, you know what? Like, my mom really did bust her ass off para que yo tenga lo mejor, y amor nunca le va a faltar. Quiero platicar de las polémicas. Yo siento como que cada día andas en una polémica. Mm-hmm. There's always drama with Wendy. What do you feel like looking back, or even like, you know, seeing how things get blown up out of proportion? Is there any drama or beef with anyone that like now or even at that moment you're like, you know what, it wasn't that big of a deal, like people blew it up or that other person blew it up? Is there any like beef that you're like, me vale?
I think most of it is just like a whatever thing. Obviously I do feed into it sometimes, because like as much as people say like, oh, just ignore, you don't, like people don't realize like it's somebody talking about you. Yeah. Whether it's someone famous, whether it's an old friend, whether it's a boyfriend, whatever it is, like it's somebody talking about you. You're gonna want to defend yourself, and especially because all these people are like, oh, she did this, she did that, she did this. Like it's hard having people say things without knowing.
Cada día miramos una cosa nueva con Wendy, que Wendy dijo esto, or whatever it is. A veces miramos muchos rumores también que se crean de ti, of people just trying to colgarse de tu fama. What do you feel like has been the biggest rumor that, like, when you think about it, you're like, no mames, güey, ¿de dónde salió este pinche rumor? Nada que ver. What was that rumor for you?
I think the biggest rumor that like I get confused about is like the Tia Wendy thing. People say that because they think that my twin sister, takes care of my daughter all the time, which is not the case at all. She does help me a lot, like when I need to use the restroom, like she takes care of her, or sometimes she goes to the park with her boyfriend, like small things like that. She does help me. Yeah. But it's never been like the whole day. Like people say, oh, she's the mom. Oh, she's always with her. Oh, when she goes to California, her sister's taking care of her, which is not the case at all. She literally hasn't even changed her diaper. Like she helps me out a lot, but that's not the case.
Yo pienso que la gente le gusta, como te digo, see what they see, and they're like, no, yo conozco toda tu historia. What is a typical day for not Tia Wendy, but for mommy Wendy? Like, what, cuando tú tienes a Valentina, what is like, you know what, this is her schedule, me levanto, le hago de comer. ¿Qué es tu schedule when it comes to, you know, being in full mommy mode?
I feel like I don't really show like my day-to-day life when I'm over there back home, but I just wake up, I'm with Valentina, I let Valentina play a little bit, and then I go make her breakfast. After that, sometimes we just stay in her little like play area, or we go to the park. Most of the time we go out because like I hate staying in. Like it's a lot to just stay in with a baby. So we go to Target, we go to the mall, and then we come back home. She naps. I mostly just at home, I mostly just like have her playing around or play with her. And then when my mom gets home, like my mom obviously loves her. She wants to take her. And from there, I edit videos or I go live. I do what I need to do. And then we go to sleep.
You gotta clock in because si tú quieres sacarte no nomás a ti, pero a ella también adelante, pues tienes que trabajar. Igual como hay mucha gente que they go to their 9 to 5 to go work y dejan a sus hijos, pues también tú puedes, you know, going through everything you've gone through, the mommy shaming y todos los comentarios que te llegan todos los días. What is a message you can give to, you know, future Valentina? Like if she ever comes back and watches this video, what is a message that you as a mom would love to give her?
My message to future Valentina is that I love her so much. I know when she grows up, I know she's gonna love me. And even I was thinking about it the other day that like the whole music video thing, like I was thinking about it like when she grows up, she's gonna see that her mom's in a music video. She's gonna see that her mom like had this certain amount of followers. So I just hope that she's proud of me, and I just hope that everything is good.
Y lo va a estar porque al fin del día, se diga lo que se diga, su mamá es una chingona, and despite everything that you've gone through, despite the hate, despite everyone trying to put you down, está saliendo adelante. So ya para terminar esta entrevista el día de hoy, voy a terminar con la última pregunta. ¿En dónde te miras tú en los próximos 5 años? What are goals? Do you want to collab with any like brands? What are goals que tú te tienes for in the next 5 years?
I think right now, like my main goal is to buy my own house, get a car, and just be there for Valentina. Obviously, I hope I don't have to travel this much later on, but I know it'll pay off. I'll get the house for Valentina, I'll get a car, and everything will work out at the end.
Do you ever have plans de moverse todos ustedes para acá, especialmente with what you guys do and knowing that everything that you guys kind of need to grow as an influencer is in LA?
Right now, I don't know. I like LA, but I don't think I can move over here. I am planning to bring Valentina to be here for a week. So I think like that is good, like just here
like
and
vacaciones,
there.
like little vacations.
Yeah.
Y es lo que se merece Valentina, amigas. Yo la conocí, se me hace una niña llena de amor. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit down here and, you know, talk about everything that you talked about. You got super vulnerable. Y en verdad te lo agradezco que escogiste esa noche de pendejadas para estar aquí con nosotros el día de hoy y contar un poquito más de tu historia.
No, thank you so much for having me here. I did message Alannized. I was the one who gave him the idea because I just wanted to come here and like share a little bit more about myself, and thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. And also I want to thank everyone. I know, like you said, I have a lot of haters and stuff, but I also do have a lot of people who love me and who still support me, so thank you guys so much. I love you guys. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here on the podcast, or I wouldn't be in LA, so thank you guys so much.
Y en verdad que sí, amigas, es lo que le estaba comentando, que aunque hay mucha gente que a lo mejor no la pueden ver o que no les cae bien, hay mucha gente que te ama, hay mucha gente que quiere no nomás a ti, pero a toda tu familia, y eso es lo único que tú tienes que saber para seguir adelante. So with that being said, amigas, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed it. Si no han seguido a Wendy, vayan y síganla en todas sus redes sociales. Ahí les voy a dejar all her links down below as well. No se les olvide seguirme a mí para que no se pierdan any future episodes. And with that being said, thank you once again.
Bye, thank you. Bye, guys.
And with that being said, amigas, once again, espero muchísimo que les haya encantado el episodio del día de hoy. No se me vayan a ningún lado, amigas, porque literal en pocos segundos tenemos una presentación del mismo grupo que nos abrió el día de hoy. Please help me welcome los de la HOMAN.
Me siento en tus brazos, se me olvida todo. Soy afortunado por tenerte a ti, aquí despertando a mi lado. Estoy en deuda porque llegaste a mi vida, como si estuvieras hecha justo a mi medida, y yo no lo pedí. Solito me llegó y vale el doble así, un regalo de Dios destinado para mí. Voy a ser el encargado de cuidarte siempre, que nada te falte, ni una única misión será hacerte muy feliz. Y en las buenas y en las malas estaré contigo. Para lo que necesites, pase lo que pase, voy a estar allí. La recompensa para mí sea ver tu linda carita sonreír. Y esto es los de la HOMAN, chiquititas. Como si estuvieras hecha justo a mi medida, y yo no lo pedí, solito me llegó, y vale el doble así, un regalo de Dios, destinado para mí. Voy a ser el encargado de cuidarte siempre, que nada te falte. Mi única misión será hacerte muy feliz. En las buenas y en las malas estaré contigo. Para lo que necesites, pase lo que pase, voy a estar allí. La recompensa para mí será ver tu linda carita sonreír. Ahí le va tu canción, chiquitita, los de la HOMAN.